losses you can have on the hardwood. And, I got to give credit where credit's due. First of all, I'm Jeff. That's Tom. Good to be with you. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for jumping on board with us to start the day here. Well, lunchtime and away we go, getting through this Monday. How are you, Tom? You all right, buddy?
Yeah, man. Getting in the groove. How about you?
I'm good. I may lean heavily on my cohort today. I've had a splitting headache for the last hour and a half out of nowhere.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what the hell.
We've got some interesting timing here then.
Well,
I could tell you off the air, but I've had a run of just no sleep.
What's going on out here, everybody?
I don't know what's going on.
What is going on? Hey, look at our new backdrop. That is sharp, by the way. Don't you think?
Yeah, we're messing around with it. Yeah.
I like it. No.
Retro blend of colors.
Yeah, it is. I like it. By the way, listen, let's all cross our fingers, knock on wood, drink a lot of fluids, whatever you got to do. Apparently, the entire city is sick.
Is that right?
Well, I had no idea.
Okay.
My wife works in the school system, so I learned this later on. But apparently everybody is. I have felt fine. I was fine yesterday, fine Saturday, fine Friday. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm excited to be here, ready to go. But something happened a couple hours. I spent all day yesterday out in the yard like an old man, doing things in the yard.
You're doing that more as you get older. The outdoorsman kind of.
Well, just getting out of the house, just getting out. Now, sometimes it's like at a bar outside, but sometimes it's productive.
Was that yesterday?
No.
Okay.
But sometimes it's productive. It's like I got, winter's basically over around here. And so I'm like, I got these tree limbs I need to cut down. I need to do this, and this, all that stuff. Next thing you know, I don't know if it was the pollens, Tom. The pollens getting to me.
I feel like there might be some developing here. I did check the forecast for this week because I have to worry about that stuff. And it's going to get worse as the week goes along. We get that fake spring, and then there's going to be a bunch of rain, and it cools off, and we get that 50-degree high week. And then there's second spring, and the pollen dumps all over the cars. And then there's the final spring, which is usually the real one, and the pollen sticks around for a while. And then you're just into the heat. But I've been having a spate of anxiety dreams. Just tons of I cannot sleep. Work nightmares, the works.
Nervous about this Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah. Must be. I was really worried about how this background on the 2-cam shot would go over. I've been sweating that. But I cannot get sleep. It is insane. Anyway, we'll lean on each other.
Yeah, we'll make it through today, and then we'll soar for the rest of the week. Hey, Fly Eagles Fly Week. Let's go. I know. Go ahead. Don your Philadelphia Eagles garb, Tom Lang. Let's get it on. The world rightfully rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles this week. I hope it's not even close. I want a 38-0 Philadelphia win. Let's go, Eagles.
Can't do it. Can't go there. Go Chiefs. Let the dynasty reign.
I will not root for anybody in the Super Bowl. I will, however, bet on the Eagles.
It does have a little bit of a feeling early in the week.
It does.
I felt that way.
I'm feeling good about the Eagles.
If one team is going to run away from the other, which one will it be? It would be Philadelphia running away from Kansas City.
Because the Chiefs don't run away from anybody. But also, yes, I'm feeling that.
That Eagles defense, man.
They're for real, and they're bullies, and they run the ball like bullies. I hope it comes to be. Relatively.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm fine with it. Let's go.
Usually when you ascend to this level of greatness, and, the Patriots certainly did forever and a day, Alabama football, I don't have a hard time with that team winning again because it just feels like the house took the pot in the hand of.
I root against the house. I root for the man. I root for us to win every now and again. When I play blackjack, I don't know about you, I don't want the dealer to win.
Not when the player next to me is donning Philadelphia gear. I root for the house because I'm not in the hand. The Bucks are not there. Therefore, I am not in the hand. And if somebody's sitting next to me and he's getting a little mouthy with the pit boss and the cocktail waitresses, I don't root for that guy. I root for the house to win. And that's what Philadelphia is. They're the guy getting mouthy with the cocktail waitresses. So we're done here.
Well, here we go. I'm excited to watch it either way. It's like it's a celebration of American sports. The Super Bowl is. It's like it's the game, and then it's everything else. And by everything else, obviously, some people think commercials, halftime shows, and all the other stuff. No, I mean, it's a smorgasbord of gambling options. It is wonderful. I always did these things in the past illegally. Now you can legally bet on 1,000 different things in the Super Bowl. It is remarkable.
The one thing I very much appreciated this time of year, because the weather up there was brutal, but up in Rockaway, was they get down on the squares in a crazy way. It might as well be called Super Bowl Squaresville, USA.
I've never come close to winning anything involved with squares. I'm always entering. I do it. I pony up. I don't want to be that guy when I get asked to be in the square. Sure, I'll do it. Never win a damn thing ever.
Every bar you go to has giant poster boards. And hey, you want to get in on the squares when you walk in?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah. And everybody does. And they've got $20. Well, they got 5s, 20s, 100s.
By the way, when you walk into a bar here in a New Yorker, say you want to get in on the squares, is great. First of all, that is fantastic. I would walk in with gobs of cash.
Oh, man.
Yes, I do.
I mean, I'd be on.
Square me up.
It'd be Saturday afternoon. I'm on Guinness number 2, and a guy walks in. He doesn't even say hello. Renee, you got any more squares? I do. Yeah. I just made a new card. Come here. And there you go. But there was even one I got invited to in the indoor golf simulator place, which is very necessary up there.
Yeah.
$5,000 a box. Good Lord.
Whoa. $5,000 to participate in squares? Yes. No, I'm not doing that one.
Payouts were absurd.
Yes. Robust.
Yeah, it was.
Listen, I've been in some big time pools, and for years I was also in a league for baseball and rotisserie baseball. And it was a serious league. We had holds. We were serious about this stuff. Like, you managed a team. You were managing.
Yeah, you had an assistant help run the numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was ever named, but he could remain nameless. And I said, when he joined your cause, be careful now. Don't let this come between you two.
Oh, yeah. We took serious stock. I had to back out of that league.
I said, make sure Jeff makes the final call so you can never get blamed for anything.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, let me tell you something. I was so serious about that league. There was real money at play. You could enjoy a couple summers worth of vacations with what you could win in that league that I was in. And I did have success one year. I did win it one year. Now, I was in it for 15 years and I only won it once. And then these guys are all really shrewd, and it's really close, and it would always come down to the wire. And it was always, I remember, like, you're studying when teams you don't even care about are calling up their best prospects. And you're laying it. I did this. I ended up getting Trout because of that. I was laying in bed after midnight one night, and I read an article that got posted that they were going to call up Trout. And I was like, oh, there it is. Bam, on that waiver wire, baby. Let's go. And you don't know. No,
that's a good time to have anxiety dream issues.
Yeah. And you don't. The funny thing is, you don't know. Like, everybody's got a star prospect, but how often does that star prospect end up becoming a Hall of Famer? You just hope they're an all-star or whatever. That guy ended up being one of the best players of all time. But yes, anyhow, we were serious about that. But I've never been involved in anything that's $5,000 a square.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus.
$250,000 to the winner. $250,000 to the winner. Like, come on now. That had to have been run by cops up there. There's no way you could run something that large without the cops being the ones running it. And then there's some others at 500 ahead, which is $25K if you get the final score right. I mean, could you imagine last year you go to overtime? Oh my God.
Well, the last 3 Super Bowls have been awesome.
I'm just saying, if there was 25 or 250K on the line.
Yeah. No, we've been the Super Bowls have been great lately. They've just been awesome games.
Except for that Tampa Kansas City one. What a snoozer.
We blew it. We just beat their ass like a drum. 31-9. And we're sorry about that. Or we're not. No, we're lucky. You all have to routinely thank us in Tampa Bay for having dispatched of the Chiefs so easily.
That moment, unbalanced to the right, Fournette breaks through the line untouched. That was it. That's when the handle opened, and it was okay to start drinking during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's when you knew. You're like, all righty then.
The text messages got a lot happier after that.
That'll do it, everybody.
Check, please.
Yeah, it's anyhow. We'll get geared up. We'll get there. I do feel early in the week. I feel like it's an Eagles week, buddy. I do. I think they'll break this little streak here and they'll beat the
kind of like our week with them. We were calling for it, and we were unabashedly calling for it.
Yeah, I remember TPE, you and me, as the diehard Bucks fans in this group, were kind of like, I'm feeling pretty good here.
Both of their tackles are out.
Yeah, we've got a good defense, and their tackles are out. This doesn't bode well for them. Yeah, no, you kind of felt like you'd rough them up. So did you watch? Let me ask everybody out there, were you watching? Because there's a very good chance you were not. And I understand. If you were not, I get it. Because Florida State basketball has been bad. And so you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I'm not going to watch this game. I got better things to do this weekend. It was the first, I thought about this too. It was the first weekend, Tom, since you and I were in Ireland, since you and I were in Dublin, Ireland, prepping to do shows and have a good time with the lovely people of Ireland, and then obviously covering the game. That was the first weekend since then we hadn't had football. No football.
Wow. A lot happened. Between those weekends.
Well documented. Absolutely. But this past weekend was the first one since you and I flew over there, did the stuff, had a good time, saw our fellow Noles, unfortunately, documented the loss. We did a bellying up the next day from an awesome pub.
Yeah, I'd go back there.
Oh, yes. I would.
I would do it.
I would do it. I would. Turns out that was Springsteen's pub. He routinely dropped in. Anyhow, the point is, we had a good time. We did the bellying up, met that friendly dude who was hungover and everything else. He was getting ready to go.
Yeah, he thought we were talking to him as we started the pod.
And then he just started talking to us. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? But anyhow, yeah. That's the first weekend since then that we hadn't had football. So you might not have chosen on this day to lock in at the Connie Forum for Florida State Boston College. After all, Boston College isn't very good. We're not very good. So two bad teams playing in a god-awful league for everyone not named Duke. And you're kind of like, it's the Noles. I love us. I don't know. Maybe. So I asked a lot of people this question. I said, were you watching the game? And a lot of them were like, no, I had to see the highlights. I'm like, good for you. Good for you, because if you were watching, it was harder. If you were watching along, it was more difficult than if you just caught the score and went back and saw the buffoonery that occurred down the stretch of this game.
I'm in the camp that did not see it as it happened, and here's what's going on. I'm doing work because the kids are on campus for the final junior day before the dead period. A couple of high-profile offensive linemen. Hey,
that's all I care about.
Offensive lineman on campus, another high-profile linebacker
there was
or two.
A guard that was there. Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The guard interview is very good.
Uh-huh.
And then the tackle kid is the one that Ohio State's kind of in on.
Well, we're not going to get him then. There you go.
So I'm building a win graphic for Florida State.
As we should have been, yes.
And I'm waiting for the videos to get done, because when the videos get done, we treat them and we optimize them, and then we send them out to the masses. And I'm thinking that, my God, just the second half is taking forever. I've got the stat broadcast up while I'm doing stuff for the recruiting. And naturally, as I'm ready to punch in the final stuff for the graphic, which I never really got to beyond a photo, I see the game gets closer, and then the kids' interviews happen. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to move on.
Got sidetracked again. Yeah,
I mean, it's hoops.
Yeah,
I can make the graphic a little bit later.
Well, he made and also you probably thought to yourself, well, he made the free throws. We're good.
Right? Yeah, Ewan makes the free throws.
Yeah, 76, 72. We're good. Yeah, we're good.
Well, I had changed the digit on the BC from a 6 to a 7 on their final score. Okay, now let's get over here. Oh, it was Greer and it was Carr, the two linemen that we really wanted to get. So let me work on that. I get done with that project. I come back and I see the final on stat broadcast. I go, what?
Yeah, you're like,
you have got to be kidding me.
Well, because it's a 4-point lead with 14 seconds left. You're like, well, that didn't. What just happened? Yeah. If you weren't watching, I got a text, and I was watching, and as I sat there, mouth agape at what I was witnessing, and I'm yelling all kinds of things, because you have the ability to call a timeout. They don't, and then you have a kid out there, a freshman, trying to inbounds the ball, which what are you doing? He's missed 4 or 5 games in a row due to injury, and you've got that dude inbounding the ball. You have a timeout. He's struggling to inbound the ball. Call the timeout.
Yeah.
I'm yelling all kinds of things.
Right.
At the TV at that point.
Well, and if you were the near side bench, I bet you do get a timeout in, but that's where BC's standing,
I'm yelling some things I won't repeat on the air. My doors are open because it's a lovely day. So unfortunately, I apologize to you again, sir. You've been a wonderful neighbor all these years, and I understand you're a man of the cloth, and it probably causes you to recoil a bit when your neighbor, who you get along with swimmingly, drops the call, the GD timeout.
Hey, man.
I was so mad. And then it was followed by, for blank's sake. Then I see the shot because he's wide open. And before he releases it, I'm like, mother at the top. Because I know that's going down.
Yeah.
He's going to make it. Because, of course, he's going to make it.
It would have been more appropriate if he banked it, but yes. Yeah.
Anyhow, I settled a little bit, and then I just exhaled. This is where I've gotten more mature. I just did the old faraway stare. My oldest son chuckled at me. He knew I wanted to say so much more, and I just went, I got up. I took the dogs for a walk. Come on, dogs. We're going to go for a walk. We're going to let this go. Anyhow.
And then I woke up.
It was just unbelievable. For those of you that weren't watching, there's a lot of things that make you mad about the game that Florida State lost to an sorry Boston College team. Boston College came into the game in league play 1-8. 6 of their 8 losses were by 16 points or more. They're awful. They can't play a lick. You're dominating the game. There's 12 minutes to go. You're up 59-44. You're about to blow their ass out. But we're obsessed with substitutions, Tom. We're obsessed with substitutions. And it makes for, at times, sort of a convoluted mess of the game. And then, even still, even as it got tightened up, it's 72-65 with 40-something seconds left.
Your pride is admirable in the program. Because as you're reliving this, you can see it on your face that you're going through it all over again for a program that we know is in transition.
Oh.
And that is coming to a crashing halt from one leader. It's going to be handed off to another. But you're still deeply invested. More so than we were on the road trip to Cali. Or the first half against Vautech.
Oh, well, I was pissed in the first half against Vautech. We made 5 effing baskets. We scored 15 points. It's just, you care, man. You care. It's like if you watch any of your programs. So if you're Tom, if you happen to tune in to FSU playing volleyball, if you happen, and I'm talking about indoor or outdoor, if you happen to tune in to any sport Florida State's playing, I mean, you play to win the game. Hello? You do. That's right. And you care because you're
still mad about how soccer ended. I know that.
Oh, well, I don't want to talk about that. Don't need that. Ridiculous. Catch the ball. Sweet Jesus. Ridiculous ass.
Might be of England, USA World Cup.
It was just, I'm still mad at her anyhow. So,
yeah,
personally.
Yeah.
But
that's our goal. Hit their guy in the chest and then rolled in.
It's ridiculous. But I got locked in. And I was loving the fact that we were easy breezy. This is a rocking chair win, as it should be. I'm hoping against hope that perhaps it's the start of something. Maybe 2-3 wins in a row. We get back towards the NIT. But no. So rather than go through and document every last one of the blunders, which I could do, it's jotted down right here. Got it in the notes. I kind of just did it haphazardly there, just kind of bounced around a little bit of all the things.
Did some things.
Whew, buddy. So Florida State's 13-9 and 4-7 in the ACC. So on a serious note, we have had this conversation. I want to say two things. I thought our colleague Corey Clark wrote a very good piece on this, and if you haven't read it yet, you should go to warchant.com. Really well done. I texted him, told him I was proud of him. I thought he did a great job. He handled the subject matter with, restraint, I think, to some degree, and certainly the figure of that article with respect and dignity. So I think he handled that very, very well. But it's pointed out in there, and we've all agreed, and we've had this conversation. We going to hear anything from this administration at any point about anything? I mean, doesn't Mike Alford have to say something at this point about Florida State's in the market for a coach? That this is going to be Ham's final year, right?
Well, somebody from the department, we don't know who, said that they respect Leonard's ability to defend himself against the lawsuit. That's the last we've heard about basketball. But I don't know who said that.
I mean, I would certainly think that well, anyhow.
It was quoted. It was a quote. I just don't know who said it.
We don't know who said it. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hi, this is Rudy Ferguson, pastor of New Birth Tabernacle of Praise. Be encouraged, stand still, and watch God move with your morning word with Pastor Ferg. It's something God wants to share with you. Tune in every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. with the morning word with Pastor Ferg. I believe it's going to bless you and keep you for the week to come. Right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLR 373031.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we know if you have something in your home that's not supposed to be there, you want it gone now.
Not in a couple of days, not tomorrow, but today. That's why we offer a same-day guarantee.
If you call Paul's before 12, one of our technicians will be out before 5. We guarantee it.
The health of you, your family, and your pets is why we promise to do everything possible to quickly resolve your problem.
And we do so using the safest chemicals. Notice a pest problem?
Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control before 12, and we're there before 5.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been treating termites from the exterior of your home for about 25 years.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader of this non-invasive treatment.
Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations.
These stations are strategically placed around the home. If termites are present, they feed, take it back to the colony, which is shortly destroyed.
To learn more about Centricon
And a free consultation too.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, I'm wondering, Tom, I had this, I got together with the fellas. There's bonus material that we do sometimes in the Renegade Room. And so I was talking with Ira and Corey over the weekend. We recorded just our thoughts. We took questions. We answered questions there. And one of them was about basketball. We ended up having kind of a conversation about who you'd like to see brought in. And, you know, I've never been one of these guys who feels like that you have, remember I used to make fun of the fact that North Carolina wanted a Carolina guy. You'll hear that phrase a lot, oh, well, they need to go in and bring a so-and-so guy and a Louisville guy, Kentucky guy, whatever.
A Michigan man.
Yeah. So I've never felt that was necessary. You want the best guy for the job, and you want to make sure that he's somebody that is ascending and has connections in the recruiting world, obviously, because basketball, man, you get one elite player, you can go a long way. And the sport's changed. Basketball has been affected greatly, obviously, with NIL. And there are those that invest in basketball and those that do not. We do not. Not in a serious way. We haven't in a while. And, I would think through this transition that they got to make a decision now. I mean, like, what are they going to do? What kind of candidate are they going to look at? And over the years, there have been a couple former Noles that have been interested in the job. Sam Cassell being one of them, obviously, as the guy who's been an assistant in the NBA forever. And Sam was a great Nole. I remember watching him here. He was fantastic. Obviously knows the game exceptionally well. But the number one question I would ask, and I'm for it this time, I would like to see a former Nole brought in here. For a lot of reasons, understanding what this basketball program is not, right? That's another way of phrasing that. And the most important thing would be that if it is, say it's Luke Laux or it is Sam Cassell or anybody like that, is it a former coach that was on the staff, for example? That might be hard. Obviously, Gates isn't coming. You're not getting somebody to leave an SEC job that pays exceptionally well to come take this job, I don't think.
Not unless the priorities change drastically.
Right.
Yeah.
So, the number one thing they got to have is the ability to pay players. I mean, let's just say it. That's the deal. You better have a connection. You better have a means by which you can get players to say yes to Florida State, because that's what it's about. And we live in an era where that is the reality. You don't have to say it secretly. You don't have to whisper it. You can just say, hey, look, man, do you have somebody with connections that can foster sort of an NIL? Because the Battles Inn primarily works with football. That's what that collective is and does. It works with football. And good. We need somebody to hyper-focus on football. Agreed. But it would be cool if the next person coming in for the job had some sort of ties and connections that could create a body or something or a group that works with basketball specifically as well.
I just wonder about the market correction that's coming specifically for basketball as it relates to the 20.5 plus, whatever the collective is going to kick in. Because basketball rosters are really expensive.
Very.
On a per player, per capita basis, it's astronomically higher than football to pay for a basketball roster. And if you only have 20.5 to work with, and let's just assume that, the Dellinger articles are true, that, collectives think they might have to kick in an extra 5. All right. So you're at $25 or $26 million in terms of total player comp. With the way that basketball players are paid today, there is no way that football and basketball can coexist at a high level for any athletic department with the going rate for what it takes now to pay football and basketball players. So I would imagine that there has to be some sort of market correction coming. And I don't think it's going to come for football first. I think it's going to come for basketball first. Like if you want to play at Alabama, you want to play at Florida State or Ole Miss or wherever, and they're all operating in relatively the same area of 20.5 plus 5. They're going to keep on paying their quarterbacks and their offensive and defensive linemen. So I just wonder how that might impact power football. Now, it might mean that schools in the Northeast and schools that are basketball traditional powers that don't care as much about football, like a Kansas, continue to be awesome. Duke continue to be awesome at this other level. But for these programs that want to be all things, like, for example, Auburn, football program's not so hot right now, so they're paying extra to try and make it better, but has been a basketball machine. Florida is trying to be both. What happens to those schools as the market starts to regulate? I don't know. We'll see. Because it could impact how we do. My point is, it could impact how we do as we build a roster if maybe the rest of the market comes back to earth a little bit.
Well, I'll be very intrigued. I mean, first of all, we have to begin to look down the path here and decide what direction you want to go and how much investment you're actually going to have and what's doable and what's not. By the way, to answer your question, David, in the chat, Sam Cassell would leave an NBA assistant's job because he wants to be a head coach, and he has never been a head coach. He has expressed interest in being the head coach at Florida State. So have others, by the way.
Well, yeah, and I would footnote, as David asks, he says they got SEC money. I get that, David. I was saying on the assumption that Dellinger's article is true, that you're going to have 20.5, this third-party system that's vetting personal deals, and the thought is that collectives only go about $5 million more. We could do that. I mean, we could do that right now.
Yeah.
So at some point, you do compete more. And for football, that's where most of the money is going to go. The discretionary dollars are going to go. But does it mean that constructing a roster for us might actually be easier relative to the competition in the next 2 or 3 years? Could be. Or you have to take the other path, which is, how much does it cost to just field a bunch of 3 or 4 year guys that we're going to develop here? And that's what we're going to be, is we're going to be one of those groups that has a bunch of 22-year-olds and peaks every 2 or 3 seasons. Because that could be on the cheap, but then you could almost guarantee that every couple of years you're going to have dudes who aren't good enough to go to the pros, dudes who aren't good enough to get poached elsewhere, but they're system players, and they give you a fighting chance when they're juniors and seniors.
Yeah, the problem is, though, man, again, with the way this works, if you're one of those kinds of programs, the second somebody emerges as they develop as a viable whatever, forward, guard, center, they're gone.
Yeah, you're a feeder.
You're a feeder program. I got no interest.
But that would be better than we are right now. A feeder program would be better than what we've been the last few years.
Yeah. Well, no, this has been a rudderless program. And this is what makes me sad. I don't know if Ham would be open to the idea of an announcement being made by the athletic department saying that, Ham will not be extended. Florida State will be in the market for a new coach at the end of this season. That there'll be a chance to have a send-off. Have a chance for those who are interested in such things to say goodbye and thank you. I'd be one of those people who'd be interested in that, but there's some thought that Ham would not be interested in that. That's pride kicking in. That's pride kicking in. But look, I'm sorry, sir. As much as respect as I have for you, and I do, this is a lousy basketball program. They've been lousy for 4 years. There are no signs that it's getting any better. Let's be honest about things here. He's 76 years old. We're not signing to an extension.
And getting sued.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that say it's time to part ways, and it's pretty easy to say it, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate, but it's what it is. So, somebody else will have to lead this program after this season. I'd like to get on with the getting and figure out what we're going to do. I have no idea the way the athletic department sees this.
But would you have hope? I mean, let's just say that they announced it. Would you have hope? I wouldn't in the immediate. I don't. Where's the resources going to come from unless the system itself changes? Where are the resources?
Well, it would have to be. That's why I said if you're bringing in somebody who's got connections, somebody who has people who would be willing to help out.
They bring in their own money people.
Yes,
I see what you're saying.
I thought
you meant as in connected to be able. They could get kids on campus. So
bring your own money people with you.
Well, what do the money people get in return? Logos on the court? You need business partners who would see value in Leonard Hamilton Court sharing, because that's what it's going to be, damn it. There's going to be some logos on there.
I do think, buddy, that you've got to look at things in a very different light now. Very different light, where the possibilities, the revenue streams, and the people that get involved with your program are endless in a way. I mean, you can open the doors to things you never dreamt of just 5-7 years ago. And I've talked to, again, I'm not an expert. I do not know in that regard. I'm not a basketball NIL expert. I don't know how it would work, but I've had people tell me, oh no, we can get some guys. We're going to be okay. If this, and this happens, there's a series of things that they would want to happen and they could get some people involved.
It must be diehards. They would have to be. I mean, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that it's possible.
I don't know that they would necessarily be like FSU alum.
Okay. What is this, private equity? They're getting a piece of the program? Because the ROI on basketball, especially college basketball, yeesh. Where's the benefit?
Yeah, there's not a lot. But we all know what a sham all of this return on investment is anyhow.
Yeah.
I mean, the people who are giving money to a star right tackle aren't getting a return on their investment other than yay team. I mean, that guy's not selling more of what you have to offer, whatever you sell, whatever you got rich off of, whatever it is that is your business. If the Spanx lady ever gave the money that everybody's asking her to give, what would be the return on her investment?
Right. Well, that would be at a number. I would think that they'd put logos in places, but
I guess
I'm just saying that the cost for a star right tackle pales in comparison to a star basketball player that's actually going to do something with your program to take them beyond, a Sweet 16 every few years. That it costs us astronomical compared to the right tackle. So you'd have to not only bring in some money people, you'd have to bring some big money people.
Yes.
Sounds like a tall task.
Yes, you would. Hey, we are happy to announce the return of T-Spark Enterprises as a commercial sponsor on the Jeff Cameron Show. Back on board, did it years and years and years with us. Went away for a while and went, no, I just can't quit him. Got to come back. They do commercial and residential roofing, but also help with home remodeling, additions, businesses that need updates or build outs. You can check out their website for all the construction services that they provide. Prevent leaks before they start. Large roof issues or things that you could avoid if you had preventive maintenance, certainly. Commercial tenant build outs and all those things. You'll be hearing about all the goodness of T-Spark Enterprises as they jump on board with us again. Good to have you back, T-Spark, and we'll be talking about you more and more in the coming days. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Deputies are investigating a Friday night shooting in Woodville as a road rage incident. LCSO responded to the intersection of Old Pine Acres Trail and Bright Star Circle around 8:15 p.m., where deputies found a man with 2 gunshot wounds to the stomach. The man was taken to the hospital where he remains in critical condition. Authorities say the shooting was part of a road rage incident between the driver of a pickup truck and the rider of a motorcycle. The motorcyclist was also injured and taken to the hospital for minor injuries and was released. It is unclear if the motorcyclist was shot. It is also unclear if the man shot multiple times was the pickup truck driver. LCSO said there was no threat to the public, but has yet to mention any arrests. Deputies ask anyone with information on the case to call LCSO at 850-606-5800 or to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers at 850-574-TIPS. This is Rachel Lene with the Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. 75 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies, southerly winds around 5 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected with fog in spots tonight. Lows dip down to about 52. Mainly sunny skies develop with fog in spots early tomorrow. Highs around 78. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 69 degrees.
Well, it's so great being back in the Oval Office looking out over the White House lawn. Speaking of lawns, I got to tell you about the Lawn Johns. They're the best. Anything from basic lawn care like mowing, edging, weed eating, and they can do even a full landscape design. Believe me, it's incredible. In fact, Elon and I have big plans, and we're going to grow grass on the moon, and guess who's going to be doing the lawn up there? Yeah, you got it. The Lawn Johns. Call them right now, or for a free estimate, you can visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on, Big River. I would think we should see something in the coming days from the administration. That's all I'm saying. Get a sense of where this is all at. All right, so, we don't normally, and we won't spend a lot of time on this, but I wanted to point out and highlight something here about the biggest news of the day in professional sports. And the biggest news of the day was obviously the Luka Doncic trade and the fallout from that and what people are saying about that and what it represents and all those things. Now, I'm not going to get into, even though I would enjoy it, frankly, having a conversation about those trades and what that is. But rather, I want to highlight something about how effing pissed I would be if I were Luka. Now, there are rumors swirling, and I could go at this two different ways. I remember one of these things going back a long time ago, which blows me away. And I thought of it this morning or yesterday when I saw this. Do you remember when at the time it seemed like, what are you doing? But it was also fairly typical of the Marlins. Do you remember when they traded Miguel Cabrera to the Tigers?
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah, so that was like 20-something, whatever that was, right? That
Hurtful
was
amount of time.
7?
It was. I was in college here.
Yeah. All right, so here's the thing. If you recall, and I got to be careful, but obviously my dear friend was working for the organization at the time.
Ooh, I know where you're going. Okay.
But I'm going to be careful about this, and I'm not going to get into all the details. But at that time, they certainly knew Miguel Cabrera was a star in the making. He was a savant of a hitter. Okay. He was a guy that could roll out of bed and hit, and sometimes did. And there was some frustration with the approach, that the ability was such that he was one of those rare kinds of players that could get away with it. that could be less disciplined than many others. In a game built around failure, this guy somehow could overcome and succeed at very high levels, despite not paying attention to detail, not eating in the proper way to take care of your body in a nutritious fashion. Perhaps road trips turned into fun times out on the town.
Oh, look, man, he's an old school player.
Yes,
he's a throwback.
Was a throwback. But he was too young to be that kind of a throwback, and there was a lot of work to be done here to reach your overall abilities. Anyhow, because that existed, that's all I'll say about that. Because that existed, and it wasn't known to people outside the organization. It was known within baseball to some extent, but it was not known by those who consume the sport, right?
Get some lobbies.
And because of that, and because the Marlins knew down the line at some point they were going to have to get rid of him anyhow because they couldn't afford him, they acted a little bit sooner than they might have otherwise done. And they made that trade. And everybody in baseball went, dude's a hitting savant. I mean, he's probably going to go to the Hall of Fame. If he ever decides to care, he's definitely going to the Hall of Fame. Like, he's that kind of good, right? Those same rumors swirl around Luka, by the way. And there's this thought that, A, he's a fat ass, and that he keeps having these nagging injuries because he's fat. But the other thought of that is one of the reasons that he's a little plump is that he is very fond of the beer. And, of course, this becomes a conspiratorial thing where they're like, Luka's a drunk. And I don't know that. I don't know if he is or he isn't. But there are no shortage of discussions about that. All I'll say is Dallas gets a modest return for trading a 25-year-old who's entering the prime of his career, and 2 of the last 3 years has taken him to the conference finals, and the other year he took him to the finals. So that's a hell of a thing to do, regardless of any off-the-court concerns. Like, my man, he's out here dropping 70 last year in a game. I'd probably think about just working a little harder on the off-season conditioning as opposed to making that deal. Now, that's one aspect of this, but that's not even the most interesting. If you want to go down the rabbit hole, the internet's there for you, buddy. There are a lot of rumors about this stuff. But here's where you want to go, because I find this far more interesting, and I find this something that we're going to hear about. So you understand, Tom, even though we don't spend a lot of time on the NBA here, but our listeners, there are plenty of NBA people out there. You guys get what a Supermax deal is, and you understand how it came about. For those of you that don't understand, basically the Supermax was created by the league so that teams could have an advantage in re-signing their own stars. I think that's the best way to say it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he was eligible coming up for the Supermax, right? So they could get it. And also, by the way, teams get a year head start on re-signing their guys over anybody else. So they really wanted to incentivize, and it's a smart move by the NBA. Really, all leagues should probably do this, because if you think about it, if you've got a guy like Andrew McCutchen back when he was the MVP in Major League Baseball for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Pirates are broke asses. Their owners aren't ever going to step up like they should. I loathe them and will forevermore because of it. But if they had had a distinct advantage in which they could have re-signed him long-term to be the face of the Pirates, they would have maybe done it, right? If they had some sort of built-in incentivized reason to do so. And it's good for cities like Oklahoma City, like these small places that all of a sudden you draft the right guy, becomes the face of the league, and you get to keep him. He doesn't just go to the Lakers and the Celtics or the Knicks, right? You get to keep him. That's why they did it. So he was eligible for a 5-year, $345 million Supermax deal with Dallas this summer coming up. All right? So with the trade, he's no longer eligible for the Supermax.
And he goes from a state with no state tax.
I'm getting there, buddy.
Okay.
It gets better. The Lakers, I looked this up today, and they would have to wait till 2026. So he's got to wait another year. The Lakers can only sign him to a 5. Now, listen, you're not going to lose sleep, but it gets worse, so stay with me. They can only sign him to a 5-year, $229 million deal. Okay, so that is 45, almost 46 million per year, as opposed to the 65 million per year he was about to get. A little bit of a haircut, Tom. A little bit of a haircut there. Now, state of Texas does not have state taxes. They don't exist in Texas. In California, if you make more than $1 million annually, you get taxed quite a bit. It's one of the knocks on California. You like the beaches, you like the LA lifestyle, you like all that. You're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it. To the tune of over 14% in taxes, Tom, if you make more than $1 million a year.
And it's not just your home games, because it's where the game takes place. You also have to play the Clippers.
Well,
you have to play the Warriors.
Oh, yeah, there's several games in the state.
And you have to play the Kings. So that's a lot of games that you're going to get taxed at the highest level.
So the new salary over that span would be, again, like $188 million. So this move by Dallas costs him in the neighborhood of $160 million. I know we're talking about a different world where, okay, I was going to make $345 million, and now I'm going to make a lowly $188 million. But, man.
Hey, man, all he's got to do is go play in the Saudi and score 1 goal and play in 7 games, and he's covered.
If you were listening to last week's bonus hour, you heard me talk about that. But holy moly, that is a kick to the boys. Ruthless kick to the boys. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
Every journey starts with a first step, a daring step. But what they don't say about first steps is that you have to keep going, taking step after step, and eventually you take a big leap, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. After 57 years, Tallahassee Community College is soaring even higher, and we're now officially Tallahassee State College. We invite you to take a step and visit Tallahassee State College. Learn more at tsc.fl.edu.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Florida A&M hosting Alabama State today at the Al Lawson Center. The Rattlers playing for their 5th straight win. And despite a 1-10 record on the road, the Alabama State Hornets are the 2-point favorite, 143.5 the total at the Al Lawson Center. Chase Elliott won the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem. The Daytona 500 a week from Sunday. Kyle Busch 11-1, Ryan Blaney 12-1, Brad Keselowski 13-1. Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin both 14-1. Super Bowl 59 at Caesars Superdome. The Chiefs a 1.5 favorite over the Philadelphia Eagles. The total 48.5 on Sunday. $250 bonus and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Take a sip and have a trip with Tallulah's famous THC slushies. Lots of fun flavors to choose from, refreshingly delicious, and the perfect way to relax. Stop by Tallulah's and try the all-new sugar-free Jolly Rancher slushie today and find out why everyone is going mad for honey. A rare, intriguing, deep red honey harvested from the mountains of Nepal. Mad Honey is the latest trend, creating quite the buzz. Literally. Try Mad Honey today, only available at a Tallulah store near you.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Super Bowl week. We'll slowly gear up towards the game. It is amazing to me, Tom. We were just talking about it last hour, how quickly time flies by. I went back and looked at that Miggy trade, and it was a 6-for-2 trade.
Yes, D-Dubs. Dontrell Willis was the other guy that went to the Tigers.
Yeah, there was I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I did laugh. There was a story about this. Cameron Maben, who had debuted with the Tigers at age 20 that August, was at home playing Xbox Live with a buddy. And his buddy goes, "Hey, man, did you just see that?" And he goes, "What?" "I think you just got traded." I started thinking about what that'd be like. A lot of the guys that were involved in that trade weighed in, and they all talked about like where they were and what happened. Andrew Miller. And so they all, he was like gearing up for spring training. And then he gets a call and he's like, what? That'd be the weird part of being a professional athlete. We were just about Luka. Apparently he had no idea. So he found out when we all found out, like, hey, man, you're gone.
Another bullpen arm that was in that trade went by the nickname The Hopper.
Oh, boy.
Burke Badenhop was in that trade.
Yes, he was.
Maben could have been losing to me in any number of games on Xbox Live at that moment. I wonder if somebody I was playing with just randomly quit because they realized they'd been traded to the Florida Marlins. Could have been it.
Mike Rabello was on that team, a backup catcher.
Oh, my goodness.
Baseball's the sport that does that to you, buddy. You will find names you're like, oh, my God, I haven't thought about that dude in years. The one for me, whenever we play the game, what's the game called where you try to pick?
What, the random name game?
No, it's the squares thing where it's like a player that I love that game, and I can't remember the name of it all of a sudden. Anyhow, I'm forever always out there throwing Kurt Bavacqua out there and guys like that who are just like crazy.
Immaculate.
Oh, Grid. Yeah.
Immaculate Grid.
It's really
there we
good.
go. We worked through it.
Yeah. The object, though, is eventually to find a guy that ended up pitching for like 9 teams. There's always a reliever that bounced around for everybody that really will fit the bill for you.
Guys, I'm going to go with Ronnie Paulino here.
He played for the Pirates.
First pitch swinging.
Good old Ronnie Paulino. So, yeah, I'm always curious about that. Hey, second question for you, by the way, and I didn't ask any of you guys this, but I will. Did anybody tune into the flag football game? I don't think so. Why are they continuing to play that?
I had on the golf.
I did too. It was great.
The one thing that it's a gorgeous day out there. I get it. But all these spinning drone shots, come on now. Those of us who still might have a little bit of motion sickness, we're spinning these things. We're flying them around at breakneck speeds. Okay. The landscape is gorgeous. Can we go through 2 consecutive shots without doing one of these spinny whippity-doo, I'm on the teacups at Disney World camera shots?
I do want to play that course. I've been to that course. I told you I stood there overlooking several holes, and I was that close. Wanted to play. Didn't. Time wouldn't allow for it. It is breathtaking, and I love that tournament.
Was that when you were in San Fran?
Yeah. I took
you and your dad found that bar in San Fran?
Well, several. But
there was the one, though, I think there's a fun story about. But how far is that from there?
Well, the place where we were standing, we were having that glass of scotch. That picture that I've shown you is really good. You can see the hole from, it's 20 yards away.
Yeah, it's in the backdrop, especially when they're on the front side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And they have a bagpiper that comes up and plays at 5 o'clock.
So if you're in San Fran, what, an hour drive, half an hour drive?
Yeah, it wasn't that far at all. Yeah, I don't really remember it being that far at all. It was quick. Yeah. Good times there. That whole area is stunningly gorgeous. But I would love to play that course, and I would pay the ridiculous cost to do so. Did we miss out on another defensive end? Did I just now see that?
That's the Mathis kid.
Yeah, the Zahir Mathis kid. I don't know where listen, I know we were fighting with Maryland and Penn State, but I also remember Ohio State was high on the list.
I mean, Michigan was in there as well.
So was Georgia. I remember thinking, well, we're not getting them.
Well, we spent a lot of money on a couple of edge rushers at the very end of the original early signing period cycle. Not trying to be defeatist on that. Like Maryland threw the bag. Everybody's got a bag. Maryland might have had more at their disposal. And so they get the kid. But, yeah, didn't get him.
So Maryland outdueled Ohio State?
I think some teams dropped out. It might have been that, at some point, we've got 4 or 5 of these kids, so I need to go grab the next one.
Here's the thing. In fairness, that kid lived, 115 miles away from Maryland's campus.
It's a smart move. It's his initial offering. He'll be back on the market in a year or two, and he'll make more.
But, you're trying to get a kid that to come nearly 900 miles as opposed to 115, and all things being equal, you might lose out on a kid like that, which is what happened to us, but also happened to Ohio State, so be it. I will see. This is the hardest thing about recruiting. I thought it was fascinating. We work for Warchant.com and different capacities, but anyhow, Gene Williams posting on the site. This is usually usually not the subject here, but posting on the site whether or not asking people just for feedback. Do they still pay attention to recruiting? And I thought, A, that was smart of them to do, but B, I do wonder what was the answer. Because I don't think many people do. I mean, they do and they don't. If you get a guy, there's a temporary bump in enthusiasm for recruiting that day. You're like, oh, hey, we got a guy. But, it's so fickle and it can change between now and the time that he arrives and plays for you that you don't get your hopes up too much anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's all self-fulfilling, too. As you get better and as you prove you're going to close on signing day. Like, for example, this signing day was actually, if not the best, one of the best.
Oh, it was
because of the way
unexpected surprise, yes.
Whereas the other ones were, oh, my God, we're going to land the best player at this position or one of the best players at this other position, and then they say no in the final moment. I did put out a poll question today on the boards about relative interest in different facets of FSU, because you're right. I got to thinking the same thing. Typically, this Wednesday would be National Signing Day for those of us that go way back, and it hasn't been for a few years now, but that makes this an awkward place on the calendar. Where do you focus? What do you think about? And little to no answers came in for recruiting. I'll put it on the screen.
Yes, because it's totally changed, and I never thought I'd see the day where I felt like I missed aspects of recruiting, which was something that I made fun of. That's not the right word for it, but, I made jokes all the time that I was going to start a website. I follow thekitties.com and all that stuff because there were people who were obsessed. They'd take the day off from work. They couldn't sleep the night before. They were giddy. It was coming down to us and one other school for the services of this 5-star or that 4-star. But when you look back on the process and you realize what you were investing in, you can see where absolutely it was a holiday and that people would get excited because there was a very long time in which Florida State, more often than not, cleaned up on signing day. But that world has been shattered by where football has gone now, and it's not anywhere close to that. And also, you can't, let's just say, for argument's sake, Zahir Mathis, let's just say we found out an hour ago, he says he's going to Florida State. So the 4-star edge is going to go to Florida State. I mean, how much hoopla is there for that? You're like, oh, good, they got an edge. Nice.
Right. Yeah, moves us up to 18 or 17 in the rankings. You already got your major run, and Tylon Lee last week being classified as a 5-star by On3.
Which was cool. I mean, it's nice to get a 5-star, yeah.
Right. That I think had more juice than this story would if you got him. And it's not sour grapes because these kids are going to transfer. It's almost like you're taking their junior and senior seasons and dropping them into college and expecting the same thing. How many of these kids that sign with you are going to be with you by the time they're juniors.
Well, that's my point, and that's the part that bothers me. It's like, okay, let's say I were to get excited about that news. I mean, he could decide not to come at some point. He could just say, I changed my mind, and those minds are easily changed by a bag. And so you have that factor, and we've already been burned a couple of times on the final day. We certainly know that. But also, let's say he comes here and for whatever reason he's homesick, you're going to lose him again.
So of the people that responded, 270 so far, just 3 said recruiting is at the top of their mind right now when it comes to Florida State. The portal did 6 times as much.
Yeah, and it's a different way even there, even within the realm of those who would say that they're into recruiting. I think the way they're into recruiting has changed as well. Who's interested in coming to visit you? Like, I think you start looking at recruiting through the eyes of the quality of player that you're able to get on campus. And really, that's the only aspect of it.
And this time last year, they did a wonderful job of that. They were on a trajectory this time last year for a top 10 class without breaking a sweat. And it would have been probably in the top 6, I mean, if they had done what was expected of them. But then the whole thing fell apart. And, down creeps in.
Yeah, you fall apart when you're going 2-10.
You're not exactly great at the whole recruiting thing, top to bottom anyway, and people pay attention more to that when you're losing. When you're winning, you can be very protective of your time with kids. Oh, got to go. We got football games to win. Understandable, coach. No big deal. Then you only win 2 of them all year.
Yeah,
what the hell were they doing?
Yeah. I think that you will get excited if the higher quality players that are being sought after by teams and programs that are having a lot more success than you, if you're starting to win them over because the hires you made have them intrigued and more consistently you're getting those kinds of kids on campus, then you can see that there's a path towards being improved, vastly improved in recruiting results. And people are looking out for that because that was the one sore spot about the previous staff as it was compiled before the changes, which was you guys don't really do anything with your success in the recruiting world. You could be doing a lot more with, in terms of signing the classes that you were signing, because if you win 10 games and you win 12 games, you kind of gotta, or 13, you gotta do better than you're doing. Now they want to know, well, all right, are these guys connecting with the upper crust player? There's only so much you can do before you play a game. Before you can get out from under that stink, there's only so much you can do. Hey, side note, but it's in the realm of how much things have changed in college football. Here you go. I don't know how many of you saw this. A lot of weird college football news over the weekend. So Ohio State loses Chip Kelly. He goes to the Raiders, which is interesting because he's going to get $6 million. How about a guy who decides to walk away from being a head coach? Chip Kelly's the head coach at UCLA, says, I'm out. I hate it. Don't like the system. This isn't working for me. I just want to call plays. I'm getting too old, and I just want to call plays. Okay, Ohio State says, we'll take it. We'll pay you quite handsomely. He goes to Ohio State. They win the national title. He gets a ring. He was well compensated. Didn't have to deal with all the other pressures that come with being a head coach. Parlays it in 1 year to being the next offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders, in which he is said to be making $6 to $7 million a year as an OC. Not a bad gig if you can get it.
Well done.
That is a nice little 2-year window for a guy that walked away from being a head coach.
Well, and it just goes to show you the power of the college football playoff, because losing to Michigan in most other years would leave a sour taste.
Oh, buddy.
In everyone's mouth around the sport, professional and college. Your reputation would be in question. Instead, they go on a run in the playoff. Jeremiah Smith is either a decoy or somebody that they're actually using into Travion Hendersons of the world. Carry you to a place where you're the number 1 paid coordinator. If not for the 12-team playoff, that would not have happened.
That is true. Matt Rule canceled Nebraska's spring game. When he was asked about it, he said, I'm tired of losing players. I don't think we need to play the spring game. We'll have practices. They'll be closed. You're not going to see them. We're not putting it out there for you all to consume. We'll have our own little scrimmage, but we're not doing it because you guys showed our spring game last year on the Big Ten Network. There was so much intrigue about how's Nebraska doing under Matt Rule? Where are we headed? How's this thing doing? And you put our spring game on, and a couple of hours later, we lost 6 guys that were kicking ass in the spring game. People came and they raided our roster. And I'm here to tell you, when I read that story today, I went, goodbye spring games. A lot of coaches wanted to get rid of them anyhow. I mean, think about Nebraska for a second. It's a little bit different than FSU. We're not selling out spring games. Our fan base doesn't come in droves. The exception being the first year of Willie Taggart, where there was a lot of excitement and people were ready and they felt broken up with and everything else. They're like, all right, I'll go. But before or since, people were not going to the spring game in droves and selling out Doak Campbell Stadium. Not even close. You'd get 20, 30,000 people in there. Sit where you want. Yeah. It's a donation.
Yep. It wasn't even for a long time. Yeah. Just show on up.
But at Nebraska, where there's nothing else to do, and they are really good fans, they would sell that sucker out every year. Spring game sold out. Let's go. Come on, Huskers. And they would go. And that had to have been a moneymaker. And Matt Rule's like, nope, we got plenty of money. We're not doing this anymore. I'm sure the administration's like, hey, man. But he canceled it and said, screw it. We're not doing it. We lost 6 effing players last year because you guys showed our spring game. And I immediately thought, I wonder how many people have had the same line of thinking. Like,
Yeah, well, this is where during the Fest 2025 with the booster call, when they were talking about the spring game not being able to be conducted off-site because there were NCAA regulations and you might lose time, it just, what? We did this in Orlando not that long ago. Not saying it was the greatest show ever put on the road.
Nope.
Malik Henry had a day, made a couple of throws in that spring game.
Mm-hmm.
But you could move it if you wanted to. You could put it in a different place if you wanted to. But I suppose that Matt Rule's line of thinking may be thought of here, maybe. And if you're going to do I was suggesting 15 bones, $20.
Right.
If you please. Only $16 if you're a Seminole booster to do a scrimmage live stream. Suppose that's not going to happen now either.
Also, I thought at the time, if you're going to cancel it, I get it. There's some people who really would have wanted to go, and they were excited. And there were some people who expressed it in the chat and via email and on Twitter to me. Like, hey, man, you got it all wrong. I really look forward to the spring game, and I spent a lot of money on my tickets, and I wanted to come to that. I got you, man. I'm not here to argue with you. The spring game doesn't float my boat, but if you like it, great. But I did think this year, I don't need the world seeing our new schemes. I get it. There's nothing new under the sun. It's not like these guys haven't coached elsewhere and, we're in charge of segment groups throughout their career. We can go back and look at the film and see what they did. But I don't need you seeing what we're going to do with our personnel and how this works. I don't need that. No.
Matt Rule's not wrong. If there's going to be a window after the spring game, you can't do it. You just can't do it.
I know.
Could literally show out
in a spring game in which you designed for him to show out.
Yes, to get the fans excited.
Yes, you showcase your most electrifying player, and he's effing gone.
He goes back to his locker, and there's a text waiting on him. Hey, you might want to call me. And whoever that is, you might want to call me.
Right. Just saw you tear it up. We got a spot in our roster here for you.
One of the 9 people watching the ACC network is actually in Tuscaloosa, and he wants to talk to you right now about what you can do for him.
Or screw it. It's somebody from closer to where you grew up. Let's say Georgia Tech saw you. You're from Atlanta. Hey, you know what? We made a mistake, and we didn't offer you. And you were terrific today, young man. We got a spot in our offense. We think you fit perfect. You'll start this year. How's this sound? No. Yeah, I get it.
Not about that life. Georgia Tech lost a coach this weekend. Santucci bolted for the Ravens. Smart.
Good for Santucci.
So he left as DC to become linebackers coach.
Well, and he left at the right time. I think it was smart on his part.
Yeah, well, and also the Ravens are a machine.
Yeah.
Their defensive coordinator gets hired as a head coach or hired somewhere else every other year. It's like the Bucs OC. Just keeps on churning. New guy every year.
You're going to love it. I've got something that we talked about on Friday. We get to reopen that book. in the next segment just for you. Oh, Ira's the next segment. We'll save it. We'll save it. We'll save it to the following
Teasing me
segment.
for dozens of minutes.
You have to think about it. It's a great segment. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLR 373031.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
It's roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those storm leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Bar Enterprises. Roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Our good buddy Irash Fell, Warchant.com, set to join us here in just a moment on the Jeff Cameron Show. Looking forward to it. Should be good. I just now went into the chat. Just checking. I'm wondering, that's funny, Taylor Swift, and I'll answer this question too. Maybe Ira and I will answer it together. This question in the chat is, please weigh in on this debate. Should we set expectations for 2025 based more off the 2024 season or more off the changes in spending for the 2025 season? If the latter, what would spending demand our season be? We got a lot of questions about, and it was on the heels of Tom and I doing, just as part of a tradition, doing W's and L's and laughing and having fun with it, knowing that it's more fruitless now than it's ever been to do W's and L's.
Or more fun. Could be that too.
It is really fun. But we both recognize, like, well, I don't know. You're really going to have to figure out it's sort of the FBI strings attached to the back wall of where everybody is and throughout the conference and on your schedule. Irashafel joins us now, Jeff Cameron Show. You want to do that on a Monday? It's always good to talk to Ira. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I was reading your article on Elijah Herring, and I'm excited. I've been critical of the play at linebacker for some time here, and he seems like a dude that can really go and is, well, something that we've talked a lot about. He's productive, like proven in the college football world as being very, very productive. So did you come away impressed?
You've been critical about the linebacker?
A little bit.
I missed that show.
Yeah, a little bit. But I'm excited about Elijah Herring.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's funny. Linebacker is one of those positions. I mean, a lot of positions in football, it's really difficult to grade sometimes if you don't know what the assignments are. You look at the PFF grades, Pro Football Focus grades that we all like because we want some data. Everybody wants some data in their world. Pro Football Focus is providing some data of their grades of what these players can do. And his grades are kind of up and down. He's had some games that look great on PFF, some grades that don't. It's not like you're bringing in a surefire, big-time future NFL linebacker. But at the end of the day, tackles count. And, he had 70-something tackles 2 years ago at Tennessee. Last year, only played 11 games, finished with 60 tackles at Memphis. Also had a couple interceptions, a couple forced fumbles, which, again, this is a defense that did not produce many turnovers a year ago. And so that would be a plus as well. And, yeah, man, he's, I think he's a guy that you feel like you could plug in and play. I think, even though that we've seen so much of Blake Nicholson and Cryer and Omar Graham and those guys, I still don't feel like anybody feels like, okay, that's a surefire every down college linebacker because they just haven't played well yet. But this is a guy that has played and produced, and so you feel like he might be kind of the core of that linebacker group, and they definitely needed it.
Well, you got that, and then you have the presence of a Stephon Thompson who has done it and can talk to him about teaching it, and all of a sudden you can kind of put together, you coalesce like this group that you think will be around the football, that will be extremely active. They've got game action, and you've seen them be aggressive in pursuit, and this is something that was really lacking on Florida State's defense this past year especially, and it would drive me nuts to watch. I can't watch football being played passively. I don't think you can accrue that many tackles if you are passive. That's all. That's what I get excited about. I don't know. Maybe they stink, but they've been very, very good at finding the football.
No, I agree. I think he's the most sure thing because he's done it 2 years in a row. The thing with Stephon Thompson is he had the one great year. Then he comes back, blows out his knee, comes back the next year, it's kind of limited, and then didn't really fit into the top mix at Nebraska. I guess Sean Callahan at the Nebraska site on the On3 network said that he came in out of shape, and I actually went back and found stories where Matt Rule talked about that. He came in out of shape when he got to Nebraska. I don't know what that is. It was lingering from an injury. Then while he was at Nebraska last year, he had some injuries. So there are some excuses. There are some reasons you could say, okay, maybe he returns to that old form, but that old form was, 2 or 3 years ago. Whereas, I think with Elijah Herring, that form has been consistent. And then the other guys, again, you also brought in the transfer from North Carolina, Lavale, who showed a lot of potential. Had 9 tackles in their bowl game, his first chance to really start. So that's exciting, but he has not done it over a course of time. We've seen flashes with Omar Graham, and we've certainly seen flashes with Cryer and Blake Nicholson. The question is, all those guys, can they be as consistent as it looks like Elijah Herring is? The other really nice thing about it is, I think and Herring talked about how excited he is to be in this Tony White defense. Tony White, he's coached linebackers, he's coached safeties. This year, he's not even going to have a position. He's going to be just the defensive coordinator. But I think he was a linebacker by trade. I think, some improved coaching may also help that position group.
This is an unfortunate conversation. Very quickly, I do want to get your thoughts. I already gave Corey credit for the piece that he wrote on the basketball program and Leonard Hamilton's situation at FSU. I thought it was done respectfully. I thought it was insightful. You and I have been big fans of Leonard Hamilton. Obviously, the program is not playing well. That was a catastrophic and embarrassing end to the game against Boston College. No need to document play-by-play, blow-by-blow, but needless to say, everybody was left sort of breathless with that game. And I'm curious, and I'm asking your opinion, because I've been thinking here about how would you do it if you were Michael Alford in terms of issuing some sort of statement that they're going to complete the season and, maybe gracefully allowing him to announce his retirement. Ham doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would want to go along with something like that. But I also think that there's a real chance that, look, Florida State's not going to the postseason barring a miracle NC State-like run through the ACC tournament, and you would want to have a send-off in the home finale for SMU. There's some other schools in the league, NC State, Virginia, and Miami, of ACC programs that will be looking for a coach, in my estimation. So should Florida State make an announcement, and would Ham be open to something like that? I know he doesn't have much of a choice because he doesn't have a contract at the end of this year, but just big picture thoughts on where Florida State basketball is at and how they should handle this.
Yeah, I think it's been a difficult situation for a long time. Coaches in college sports get extensions anytime they're creeping within 2 years of their contract being expired, sometimes 3 years, let alone, this is the end of his contract. So, when they didn't renew him after last season or even the season before, you kind of knew, okay, unless something crazy happens this season, like he makes the NCAA tournament, has some great run, it's going to be hard for Florida State to justify extending him then. Why would you extend him at that point? So I think we all knew that this was coming to an end, especially once, this season has kind of devolved over the last couple of weeks. But, I think, from Florida State's standpoint as a university, I do think that they want to get in front of it if they can, because, you do have coaches out there that you're going to want to attract. Plus also, there's going to be a transfer portal opening after the season. So, they have to be cognizant of that and player movement. And so you don't want to wait till the season's over, but before even having these conversations. So, if there is a way to announce it before, and I think it's a good thing to do. On the flip side, as you said, we've known Leonard Hamilton for 20 years.
Yeah.
He's not a guy who likes to put his personal business out front and center. His number one goal is just the players on his team and them having every chance to be successful. So I don't think it's something he wants to do. But after what's happened the last few weeks, what happened, this past weekend, there's going to be tremendous pressure on this administration to at least let the fan base know something's going to happen. I would compare it to some degree to what Mike Norvell did midseason with his coordinators. I don't think he definitely didn't want to do that. The problem was a large chunk of the fan base, including a lot of donors, didn't believe him that he would actually make changes after the season. They needed to see something. And I think where this administration is right now, they really need to tell people that they're on this, that there is a plan. And the best way to do that is through an announcement. But like you said, Leonard Hamilton, they owe him the respect to, not do it without his probably some sort of cooperation.
Yeah, it's tough because if he doesn't cooperate, then what do you do? Because I still think you have to move forward, but you got to give him a chance. I agree with that. Hey, brother, what are you guys going to be talking about tonight on the Smash?
Maybe a little bit more of this, Jeff.
Boom.
This could come up as well. Now, plenty of football. The great thing is right now, we did have all those interviews last week. We've got a bunch of interviews coming up this week. I think Deuce Robinson and some of those guys are talking tomorrow. So, we're talking some football. The nice thing, again, is as you start to meet these guys and really get a feel for their personalities, I think you can start to see, I think part of probably what got you excited about Elijah Herring is just listening to him talk.
Mm-hmm.
He's an intense dude. And I think I think that's part of it too. people liked listening to James Williams last week. So, yeah, we'll be talking about that as well, for sure.
Any Don Julio?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
All right. I didn't know. It's been a minute.
Felt like jumping in the Don Julio at seconds of that basketball game.
You and me both, buddy. You and me both. All right, brother. Be well.
See you, man.
Irish Fell, warchant.com. That's tonight. 7 o'clock? Or is it 6 o'clock?
7p.
7p. That's what I thought. Yeah, man. That was a toughie. That was tough to wrap your brain around. If you're ready to optimize your nutrition this year, you can do what I have done in the Cameron household. And I was really, I got to tell you, very pleasantly surprised when I first did this. You heard about a lot of people who will get their meals sent in, pre-made, all that stuff. I didn't know what to think of those kinds of services. I'd never ordered them before. So a while back, I did get Factor. It was long before they decided to advertise on the show. So it made it very convenient when they reached out and said that they did want to advertise on the show. I said, I've had everything you guys have ever made. I've got suggestions. I've got things that I think are wonderful and everything in between. And these are chef-made gourmet meals, and they make eating well really easy. Dietitian approved, ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. You fuel your body, get out the door, do what you got to do. I got kids, 17 and 14, 2 young boys who eat me out of house and home, and they can just grab a Factor as they go out to work out or play with their friends or whatever the hell they're going to be doing. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/Cameron50off. There you go. It's Cameron50off. It's a little cheeky. Use code Cameron50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Code Cameron50off at factormeals.com/Cameron50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Your local news now.
A deadly Saturday night crash closed part of Appalachia Parkway as FHP troopers responded to the scene. Troopers responded to the intersection of Appalachia and March Road just before 9 p.m. One person has died and another was taken to the hospital. 2 vehicles were involved in the crash. There are no further details available at this time. A man is behind bars in connection to a murder that happened just over 30 years ago in Bonner County, Idaho. According to the Thomas County Sheriff's Office, James Montz, a murder suspect who has been on the run since the 1990s, was arrested by authorities on Friday. Montz was found after deputies were informed a man matching his description was seen in Thomas County. Officers spoke with Montz. He denied being that person, but his identity was verified through the rapid ID reader. He was placed under arrest and awaits extradition to Idaho. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 75 this afternoon under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the south around 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies with fog in spots tonight. Lows dip down to about 52. Daytime highs approaching 78 with fog early tomorrow. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 68 degrees.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway. There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
He's not wrong, by the way, Irish Chappelle talking about Elijah Herring. Also, I just think at 6'2", 230, 235, when you look at how athletic he is, that backside linebacker, this could be they may have something there. We'll see. I am like everybody else, reluctant to dive into the deep end and believe we're safe. But I do think there's opportunities here with some of the players they've brought in. I'm not sure how deep this team is going to be on defense. It has me slightly concerned. But for some of the players that have been very productive at the college level, including in the case of Elijah Herring playing at Tennessee, as well as Memphis, then I think, obviously Florida State is getting some guys that have produced as opposed to what we had last year in many cases, guys that were thought to be at some point excellent college football players, but had yet to prove it. And that's not all the guys they brought in a year ago, but more than a handful. And it just didn't pan out. And now they've gone the other way, well documented. They've grabbed a bunch of guys that have played a lot of football. That you could, with your own two eyes, go out and look and say, all right, let's look at the footage of him playing college football. How productive was he? How good was he? How instinctual was he? How physical was he? How hard did he play down to down? Because you can never again have what you had last year.
Yeah, elite effort was on the top of the priority list for Mike Norvell. His own words regarding defensive transfers specifically. Elite effort was what they were looking for.
Correct. That was something to say right there, wasn't it? Something to say. So, Tom, I told you I'd do this, and so I want to revisit a topic. If you missed it on the show last week, shame. You need to go back and listen to the start of the second hour of the Jeff Cameron Show.
Oh, really? We're going back there?
On Friday. And it was the PR firm came in. Tom didn't feel comfortable putting it in the Warchant video feed.
That's correct.
So if you listen to the podcast, then you got it. But if not, you may have missed out on our efforts to wrap our brain around what we could do for Justin Tucker.
It would have been the same guy that used to call the ESPN radio station back in the day.
Yes.
I thought the name of this show was Seminole Headlines, and this guy's talking about a bear mauling a man, and he's really happy to hear his screams and such. I thought this was about the Seminoles.
Yeah. And it was funny because that guy wasn't mad. He was just kind of like,
he's confused.
He was like, I wanted to hear about the headlines, but Jeff's talking about a bear mauling somebody to death.
The camera didn't actually catch the mauling, but you could hear him. And
he was listening closely.
I just want to know, what does that have to do with the Seminoles? Which would have been the email, no doubt, from that same man. Once again, it has been 12 years, but Justin Tucker and massage parlors?
Well, that would have been from the Warchant side of things, but this is the Jeff Cameron show, so I can talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about.
This is the tribal council. I don't understand.
Well, so all of the massage therapists, my God, did I ever, you think about this, the 27 some odd years I've been doing sports talk radio, I really never thought that we would have a run of about 2 or 3 years in which massage therapists and NFL football players would be front and center.
And or owners.
Or owners, that's right. Orchids of Asia, forgot. Jupiter, Florida.
Hello, Jupiter.
Well, now you know why I moved. But yeah, so
Windermere don't have game like that.
Well, Tiger didn't have to worry about it. He just went to Perkins. But here you go.
There's a lot of those in Florida.
But on Friday, we talked about this, and Tom wanted no part. I was trying to find a way to, here you go. Don't try this at home. Massage the situation and see if there was money to be had for us in the PR game. Because listen now, I mean, we're not advocates of this poor behavior if true. but we have a job to do in the PR firm, and people come to us in times of trouble and need. And how to spin this, sometimes just telling the truth is the way to go about it. We've said that before too. But 3 more massage therapists. I knew it, Tommy. I said, if this is true at all, there's more. There's more. He didn't just go there those 4 or 5 times. There's going to be more.
I don't know that you said this on the air, but internet search this.
Oh, buddy.
And check the dates of
Yeah.
some of the things you read.
Go back, man. It shows you. That's like when you get on Reddit, man, and, most of us have a life, so you don't spend all day on Reddit, but there's a Reddit feed for anything. I mean, anything. And if you type in his name, whew, there are a lot of people who've got the goods that will specific date and time tell you where they worked and what was going on. And man,
I was the janitor.
They get it they get locked in. It's like, these aren't, from the upper deck just lobbing accusations. It was 2:37 on a Wednesday when Justin Tucker walked in. I know this because it was my last shift at that massage parlor, and
Have you noticed it hasn't been a good few days for the Catholics?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints situation.
And Tucker was, big into the Catholics.
Yeah.
Not a good,
not good PR.
96
not good
hours.
PR. Not good PR, Tom.
No.
It works perfectly with this.
As hard as the Saints may try to help out in that regard.
It didn't work out.
No,
it's not looking good either. Hey, so back to this very quickly. 3 more new massage therapists have come forward accusing Justin Tucker. So here we go is all I'm saying. What's next? And when you do the research, isn't he married to like his high school sweetheart or his college sweetheart? It's one or the other.
A sweetheart of some kind.
It's a sweetheart that's been with him long before he became a famous kicker and was with him, and they were married.
They got married after the first allegation, and if you're looking chronologically.
Just after.
Yeah, a few years. So that might have come up before. No, I mean,
hey, listen, hun, I know we've been dating for a long time, and I don't want you to be surprised by anything. So in the spirit of just being honest with one another here at this dinner, I want you to know I like getting a massage. I like to go to massage parlors. Okay, Justin, that's fine. Lots of people do. Right. But I like a special kind of massage. You know what I'm saying? No, what are you saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on now, baby. And I have gone to these massage parlors. Don't want you to be surprised by anything. Now, we're not married, but we're about to be, and that is the end of my massage parlor days. But I thought you should know. Okay. That's like, he's got a lot of explaining to do.
I'm getting rid of all the punch cards.
Yeah. Well, you
get the 9th free.
You always ask me about these, and 4, then you get a 5th. Some of them you had to do 9, you get a 10th. And all of the holes have been punched on this one, so we should throw it away. But there's this my man. Ballast. Fun story though. Fun story. And that's and there was we couldn't get out of it. Remember I told you on Friday, I'm like, well, I don't know.
Couldn't get out of it. Yes, much like that New Orleans archdiocese. They got real problems. Did you see what the judge said? Did you read the AP report top to bottom on what's going on with the Saint? The judge called the Archbishop of New Orleans, or whatever the parish is called, our shepherd.
Quote unquote. Shepherd of what?
Our
Your Honor.
Right.
My goodness
Our
gracious.
shepherd who's going to guide us out of these dark times. The judge. Oh, boy.
I feel Justin Tucker made a critical error insisting on wearing his Ravens number 9 jersey when receiving his massage treatment. I had had no idea. Like, I'm not naive. I'm kind of naive, I guess, but not that naive. I get that there's a seedy element to lots of things.
In Europe, it's embraced.
Is that what he's saying to her at dinner? Hun,
much of the world embraces these things.
Listen, why so prudish? This goes on left and right in Paris, I assure you. Having been to Paris 7 times in the last 5 years.
Don't tell me, hun, that layover in Amsterdam. Well, that's a horse of a different color, hun.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So, Justin Tucker picked a bad year, by the way, to have a bad season. I think we know where this is headed. If a quarterback can be told to have a good day, it's going to be pretty easy for the Baltimore Ravens to say, sir.
One could argue maybe that's why he was so great for so long, because if the whispers are loud enough to make Reddit.
Well, they're specific. I mean, very specific. They're not really whispers. These are specific incidents.
Well, and you have to question. This is where Roger Goodell has to step in, man. Because if the Saints as an organization would get involved in somebody else's affair
right,
to try and redirect and clean up the media mess that's coming, what would they do for their own media mess? What would an NFL organization do to keep their own mess out of the public limelight?
Well, the other reason, and all jokes aside, I mean, they did suspend Deshaun Watson for 11 games while he was being investigated. So before they even found out the truths and the half-truths and everything in between and whether or not charges were coming or all that other stuff, they suspended him 11 games.
Because it was made public. That's the whole thing, though. These organizations know. These organizations know. Perhaps the Ravens organization said this cannot be made public. That Reddit has to be as far as this thing goes.
I don't think they'd go to that degree to protect the kicker, man. I don't.
I don't know. The Saints went to a crazy degree to protect an archbishop and some
molesters. Yes,
terrorists.
Yeah, no, that's true, and it's appalling, of course.
And they don't.
And that story is readily available for anybody to read.
Those guys aren't kicking field goals.
It's an organization. You're right. That's something, and we'll see what happens. But honestly, he was terrible last year. Like, it gets down to brass tacks. Like, you sucked, and this is all coming out. Have a good one, man. Enjoy the massage parlor, and try to keep your marriage together. Good luck to you. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with.
Is full of rich history and traditions. When you think of things that jump out in the minds of longtime residents, the state capitol, McClay Gardens, the Springtime Tallahassee Parade, FSU and FAMU Sports, the St. Mark's Lighthouse, St. George Island, and Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Paul's has been protecting thousands of people, their pets, their homes, and their lawns in the capital region for over 50 years. Locally founded and still locally owned and operated. There aren't many businesses in our industry that keep it together that long. Paul's Pest Control has many customers we've been honored to serve for over the last 50 years. We've experienced tremendous changes in how we treat homes and protect the people that live there. We've moved from liquid termite treatments that require drilling into the home's foundation to Centricon, a baiting system which works with their natural biology. We've moved from interior service to exterior treatments for general pests. But one thing we're not going to change is our old-fashioned commitment to personal service for each of our customers, the same way we've been doing it for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our used showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3, brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
Florida State back on the hardwood Tuesday night as they take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Noles looking to snap a 4-game losing skid. On Saturday, they fell to Boston College at home. Eagles putting up 5 points in the final 7 seconds to secure the win. FSU dropping to 13-9, 4-7 in the ACC. Florida looking to bounce back after a 20-point loss to Tennessee Saturday. Will be hosting Vanderbilt Tuesday night in Gainesville. The Gators had a 3-game win streak snapped with that loss. They're now 18-3, 5-3 in the SEC. NASCAR, Chase Elliott won the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina Sunday. The preseason exhibition race on the quarter-mile track beat Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin to the line. He led 171 of the 200 laps, starting from pole position. This sports update brought to you by Flomar's Pawn, Guns, and Gold, more than you might expect. I'm Tony Gazzeri, Real Talk 93.3.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on. That's right. You don't have to bend down and you don't have to touch them, which is why people can't stop talking.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology.
So how do hands-free Skechers Slip-ins work? It's like they have an invisible built-in shoehorn so your foot slides into place. Then our heel pillow keeps your foot comfy and secure. And Slip-ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids, in all your favorite Skechers styles.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins, and I'm never going back.
See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold, he's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. But he doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I'm really sorry about your back pain.
You have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than a polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Fenn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn. I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loans for Knowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On Warchant TV, you'd be listening, you'd be doing both. Yeah, it's all those things. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate you. By the way, so we ended up getting a bit of a follow-up here, and I guess I'm not surprised. You know, we led the show today with a lot of things, but we did talk about what felt like an untenable situation for Florida State basketball and the need to make some sort of announcement, as it has become abundantly clear Florida State will not be going to the postseason in basketball. And we wondered how they would handle it. I do think it was a delicate situation, and Ira was on last hour. We also talked about it there. But it's rare that we're on the air and it gets resolved. Florida State has decided basketball coach Leonard Hamilton will not return next season, and there will be more forthcoming from the university. So you get something official now, and that needed to be done. We'll see how they handle it from here, but Florida State is on the hunt for a new basketball coach. Interesting times. My goodness gracious, when you think of what's on the plate for this athletic department, when you think what is on the plate and the pressure that is immense, I would imagine, for Alford as an AD, and really that department. We talked last week about what a big year coming up. Stadium's got to be ready in time. You got Alabama coming to town. You're fresh off a horrible season. You're paying coaches to leave. You're bringing in new coaches and paying them. You've got to make sure that those that you ask for more money and for an upgrade in their status in order to be able to secure their seats are going to be happy. Everything runs smoothly. You're in the midst of a lawsuit. You were eagerly watching and waiting for ESPN's decision to exercise their option to extend and what that means for you. You were negotiating with them. That's still ongoing. You have the football-only facility, and now you've asked your basketball coach to take it on down the road, for lack of a better term, maybe more respectfully than that. But Leonard Hamilton will resign, and that is that. Now you got to hire a basketball coach. It's a lot. Am I forgetting anything? Football-only facility, coaching changes, stadium.
Maybe some work on the puddles at Hauser.
Man, much to my chagrin, they go way down the list of importance. Those puddles will be omnipresent. Damn it, man. Soon we'll be over to Hauser to check it all out. I'm excited for baseball, but
maybe they'll dust the fans before they turn them on.
All of the fans will be properly dusted before first pitch. I'm sure they'll wet vac those puddles, or dry vac those puddles.
Whatever vac you need.
Whatever vac you got to have to get those puddles sopped up so that we can walk free and easy. No fear of flying down the steps with a slip on the puddle around the corner. So now I do think this gets interesting because within the next 24 to 48 hours, Tom, we're going to start hearing whispers of names for basketball. It'll get interesting.
Florida State has released. This is how this usually happens, fast and furious. There was some scuttle that the announcement was coming down before the end of the show today. National media leaks it. Florida State scrambles, and the release has been distributed amongst the media now.
It reads as follows. Florida State University men's basketball head coach Leonard Hamilton announced today that he is resigning as head coach effective at the end of the current season. FSU Vice President and Director of Athletics Michael Alford announced that the university will immediately begin a national search for Hamilton's successor. Hamilton is the winningest coach in FSU history, the fifth winningest head coach in the history of the ACC. Noles are 13-9 overall this season, including a 4-7 record in ACC play. As head coach at FSU, Hamilton has compiled an overall record of 434 and 290, including a mark of 196 and 186 in ACC regular season games. He currently ranks 10th on the NCAA's list of winningest active Division I coaches. Hamilton has led Florida State to 16 postseason appearances and 12 20-win seasons. I am deeply thankful for the tremendous support of our fans, alumni, and everyone associated with Florida State throughout my time here, Hamilton said. I'm proud of the quality of the young men that it was my privilege to lead, for their faith in this program and in their belief in the philosophy that we tried to instill in them over the years. I've been blessed beyond words for the opportunity and the experience we've had here. My family and I truly love this place, this institution, and its people. I'm very fortunate to be able to have given this job my all with no regrets. Every head coach inherits a legacy and is obligated to leave the job better than they inherited it. I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish here over the last 23 seasons. We were a consistent contender. We created success for our players during their time here. So many of them have gone on to be successful in life. I hope that it will be remembered. That will be remembered as my legacy. I look forward to working with our administration during this transition and being as helpful as possible through this process. Let's just digest that for a second before I tell you what Michael Alford had to say. By the way, that's good news, Tom. That is very good news. I was concerned that this would be adversarial. I was concerned that this would not have been received, whatever the conversation sounded like, whatever that resolution that was offered up would maybe lead to Coach Hamilton pushing back. We've seen this with older coaches in the past. This is true of Coach Bowden. And you always worry about that because you want all sides to proceed and be able to hold their head high. And when you're a good man, and Leonard Hamilton certainly is that, you would like to see him be able to leave with dignity. And it sounds like that is going to happen. But I'll tell you what's the added bonus here, just surface reading here. He's going to play a part in helping out with the transition, which means this is not acrimonious. You would not stick around to help out and aid in this endeavor if you were bitterly walking away. So this suggests to me that Leonard understood the situation and understood what Florida State was going to be doing moving forward. And the fact that he'll help out is a nice aspect of this news today.
I think it also sets in concrete, right, that he's going to be honored and there's going to be a court naming or something proper, because it did not end acrimoniously as you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have that moment where his legacy in the program and what he did is going to be properly recognized before it's too late. And let's be honest here. Sometimes these things, they never patch back up in time. And this one is getting out in front of it. This particular relationship is getting out in front of that process, which I'm glad to see.
Well, yeah, when you leave as the all-time winningest coach in program history, you're going to be honored. You have to be. You're right. But they don't always end in this manner. Sometimes both sides are bitter, both sides are angry, both sides disagree, and time tends to heal all wounds. But sometimes when you're dealing with an older coach, or in the case other walks of life, older administrators, whatever it might be, sometimes it doesn't work out. This from Michael Alford, the athletic director. Coach Hamilton's personal character and integrity and his leadership set a tremendous standard for all of FSU athletics. Few people have been as important in building the positive reputation of Seminole athletics. Florida State's stature as one of the leading brands in college sports has been possible in part to his leadership of our men's basketball program. He steadily developed a culture of excellence that reflects his personal values, commitment to academic success, competitive success, community service, leadership, and ongoing personal excellence. The success of the men who have been part of our basketball program is proof of that legacy. Leonard Hamilton is a beacon of class and integrity, whose leadership serves as an indelible example that competitive excellence, academic achievement, and community service are attainable at a leading public institution. That according to FSU President Dr. Richard McCullough. Coach Hamilton's legacy extends far beyond Tallahassee and college basketball. He is one of the most respected and beloved ambassadors of FSU across the nation and his profession. Now, I will say that is true. When you talk to people outside of the building, when you talk to people within basketball, when you talk to other program leaders, Leonard Hamilton is extremely well respected. A 3-time National Coach of the Year, was named the Conference Coach of the Year 5 times. He is the only person to earn multiple Coach of the Year honors in both the ACC and the Big East. In 37 seasons as a head coach at Oklahoma State, Miami of Florida, and FSU, he earned 22 postseason bids, leading his teams to 5 Sweet 16 appearances, 3 conference championships, including FSU's first ACC title in 2012 and first regular season ACC title in the 2019-2020 season, and has an overall record of 634-500. At FSU, Hamilton has developed 19 NBA draft selections, 9 first-round picks. So, I'm excited for Leonard. I'm excited for FSU. I think that the time is right. Florida State needs to move on. There's no doubt. It's a program that has been stagnant for the last 4 seasons. Things have not gone the way we had hoped. There was a seismic shift in what was happening in college basketball, college athletics, but college basketball, and it was one that I thought would spell doom for Leonard Hamilton. It is very difficult when things change the way that they have in the game and go away from what was his overriding philosophy in terms of player development, program development, and the academics, Tom. When things pushed back from that style of teaching and coaching and developing, I thought he would be in real trouble. And unfortunately, most of us could see that the writing was on the wall. That turned out to be true. I will always hate for him and for those kids and the assistant coaches as well, the fact that their most formidable team, the one that had a legitimate shot to reach the Final Four, was unfortunately cut short by COVID. That season was a remarkable year. It brought us a ton of joy for those of us in the building for those games, the electricity, the transforming of opinion from national announcers and writers, journalists about what it meant to play in Tallahassee. You watch the transition. You watch the way that it went from being described as a nothing atmosphere with very little history to one of the most intimidating places to come in and play a basketball game for a road team in the country. That I never thought I'd see. It was remarkable. And we owe Leonard Hamilton and those kids a hearty thank you for that. It is a shame that we didn't get to see it all the way through. We'll always lament it, but I am glad that it was recognized. I am glad that he was recognized in the moment. They did celebrate that year. They did honor that year, even before COVID cut short the NCAA tournament.
And at that time, we had seen that Premier League had gotten shut down across the pond and other sports were on pause. We never really thought it was coming our way.
To that extent.
Not to the extent that March Madness was not going to happen. No way.
I just remember when certain things were getting shut down, I thought, oh, man.
I didn't feel that urgency that day when Florida State played Boston College that the season could get shut down. I thought maybe there would be testing or protocols of attendance, but it was not going to get shut down. But the one thing I will say is because it was such a heavy lift for Florida State to arrive in the place that it got to.
Oh, yeah.
To the point that Coach K and Roy Williams and Jim Boeheim, and not that you need their cosign, Patino and others, they all to a man said, I don't think you all realize how hard it is to do what he's doing here.
Well, one of the reasons that we would push back on that in the past is because it wasn't a backhanded compliment, but it could be perceived as such.
100%. And K doesn't have the tone to navigate that line.
Although he did a pretty good job the one day where he was effusive with his praise.
Yeah, because Barrett just hit the buzzer beater that day.
Well, it made it easier.
It made it easier.
Yeah.
I don't understand how.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
what is he? But it's
I think
true.
he's right. Yeah, I think he was right.
I do think, and this is one thing that I am assuming you're going to share, and I know a lot of locals do. We understood how special it was as it was happening. So many times you don't.
Right.
But whether we were in the club section or the Vista or in press row, wherever it was, as that thing was building to its crescendo, the Louisville game is the moment. But how many overtime wins did we have? Every single game that went to overtime,
and we won. Yeah.
In that moment, walking out of that place, every time we went, pinch me. This is unbelievable.
Well, there'll be a lot of chances, I think, in the coming weeks and just at the end of the season. I certainly would like to talk to Leonard on the show again. He's always been gracious with his time with me. He was always funny. I love talking to him on and off the record, on and off the air. I can't tell you how many times I ran into Leonard Hamilton around this city, a city I absolutely adore, and we just have a conversation in the fresh market. I mean, I would always run into him in the fresh market. And this is a guy that has taken great care of himself, and he would always get the same thing, fish and broccoli. The guy ate like a saint and probably still does. And we would sit around and just shoot the breeze. We'd start talking about basketball. Then the next thing you know, we'd start talking about families, and he'd ask how my kids were doing. And we'd start talking about music. He knows I'm a music guy, and so is he. And we would talk about that, talk about movies. We'd talk about all kinds of things. Leonard was so approachable, so easy. If he respected you and he thought you respected him, he'd give you his time, his kindness. You could ask him anything. He was great in that way. My oldest has gone to the Leonard Hamilton basketball camp several times. Had a blast each and every one of those times. Would always talk about a moment. This is pretty cool, by the way. Leonard Hamilton walked over to him. I don't know if he knew that was my son or not. But he walked over to Bryce one day when they were at the camp practicing, and Bryce's team had just lost the game. And so his team had to sit before going back in for the next 5-on-5. It was like a round robin thing. And he was sitting on the bench, and I guess Bryce had a good game, and Leonard walked over and sat down next to him, just started talking to him. And it was right after Leonard had had the surgery. So he had the boot on the foot and the cane, and he went over and Bryce saw him. He said he was intimidated, and that he sat down and started just to talk to him about his game and about basketball and effort and all this other stuff, and then patted him on the back and got up and walked away. Bryce was beaming.
He did have that presence about him at times where in the press room you would feel the intensity, even though he hardly ever would attack a reporter like so many of his colleagues in the ACC did. Listen, son, and among others. He still had that intensity where I would say that, Mike Martin, you would get intimidated. I would get intimidated by Mike Martin as well, just because of the greatness that walks in the room. But then he opens his mouth and you're like, oh, what a guy. Look at this guy.
Nice guy, yeah.
Leonard had this intensity as he would go through the game. And you could see if he was asked a question that was either ill-informed or it proved that you didn't watch the game that you're asking about.
Yeah. But he did a good job with it. He wouldn't, yeah.
But he would say, now, what exactly do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
there was one reporter that got, I won't.
Yeah, don't need, no
That's
need.
not the time for it right now, but.
Yeah, he would ask him to clarify.
And some good times.
Those would always crack me up, by the way. That you're like, oof, this is uncomfortable.
You coming here once a month? You're going to ask that?
Yeah, he wouldn't say that, but it would be sort of the implied sort of thing there. Yeah. Well, and why? You're like, oh boy, here we go. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Our New Year's resolution is to help more people get into a new vehicle. Kraft Nissan has drastically marked down all remaining 2024 models in stock to save you thousands, and I mean thousands, like up to 10,000 off and 0%. So listen to these deals. All remaining 2024 Frontiers are $5,000 off with 3.9% for 60 months. Titans are $10,000 off with 0% for 60 months. How about an SUV? All remaining 2024 Rogues are $5,000 off or 0% for 60 months. Kraft Nissan's 10 remaining 2024 Muranos, $8,000 off to get 0% for 72 months. Or how about the all-electric Aria SUV? The driving range of up to 300 miles. Arias are $7,500 off with 0% for 72 months. And finally, cars. All remaining 2024 Altimas are $7,500 off with prices starting at just $25,995. New year, new cars, new deals, only at Kraft Nissan in Tallahassee.
Hey man, have you heard about the Talbot Jewelry's the best in town? The rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. And Talbot Jewelry, jewelry
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalta and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalta.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old funny paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Keith Lawson Services, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, ABC Flooring, or Krispy Kreme Donuts. The country's best donut place has great different monthly specialty donuts like Ghirardelli, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and too many more to mention. Sign up online at KrispyKreme.com for exclusive email discounts or download the app that lets you pile up rewards every time you order ahead. Krispy Kreme, America's favorite donut.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data, available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came back to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You realize, or at least I do in the moment, that it's crazy how long we've been able to cover Florida State athletics. I was the first interview Leonard Hamilton did. My afternoon show when I worked for 1270. The day he got hired, he came on the air with us and talked at length, was humorous. He had been doing some media before he was hired to be the coach at Florida State. And he came on the show. He had never met me. I had never met him. and it just worked out the timing. I was on from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at that time, and he came on, and he obviously just knew I was an afternoon guy covering Florida State, and so he said something along the lines of having a newfound respect for the press and for people who did talk shows, because he said he had been asked to do a bunch of those and was beginning to do them and thought, this is harder than I realized. So he kind of disarmed the whole situation right away, and we had a great talk. I always thought one of the most impressive things that didn't get enough attention, maybe it did at the time, but I feel like it's still amazing at the height of, or at least right around the height of, the Big East still being a really vibrant and deep and dominant conference in basketball. The fact that he had a season in which he coached Miami and they were in the Big East at the time, in which they didn't lose a road game, is insane. I mean, that is nuts. I mean, it was a depth of competition in that league. It was deep and talented, and those were tough spots to go play. You know, you play in a Georgetown and a St. John's and a Syracuse and places like that. Back then, a UMass and Seton Hall and those teams. The fact that he did that at Miami was crazy to me. So anyhow, nothing but great respect and admiration that I have for Leonard Hamilton. Would have loved for him to have gone to a Final Four, won a national championship. Obviously, it didn't happen. But at a place like Florida State, where basketball has never been able to sustain excellence for any real long period of time, I think he did a very, very good job. Certainly, there's a stretch there of his career, and it's really the 2.0. It's the one that saw him pivot from going the defensive-minded length changes games and shots way of beating you, to wear you out, to beat you 52-48, to make you exhausted the way that so many coaches would come in here, and if they won, would have the look of, are you kidding me? I don't want to do this every week. This is ridiculous. Remember Thad Matta and those guys coming in? You're like,
oh, yeah.
Like, God, just sweating profusely. Like, I've got prolific scores, and we dropped 51 tonight and won by 2.
I'm sure Thad Matta was asleep on the bus to the airport. He was so exhausted.
But I mean, like, you had to work for it. But that was one way. That was the first way. That was the way that he got Florida State relevant, when he knew he couldn't get NBA caliber players and elite talent at that time to come to Florida State. He knew he had to win a certain way, and that's the way he adapted. But remember when he would do these interviews, Tom, in the early days when you first came on with me, he would always be talking about how much he wanted to get out and run, how much he wanted to score in transition and to push the basketball. And we would be like, yeah, but you're not going to. I wouldn't say it, but I'd be thinking it like, you're not going to. You told me that last year and the year before and the year before. And then one day, it happened. And all of a sudden, they were playing the modern game of basketball. It was a very different looking product.
I can remember being on the beat. This is probably 15 years ago now. And I was in one of the classrooms that they have at the basketball facility. And it's a tiny classroom, probably seats 20 people at most. And to your point, it was the season opening press conference, and it was held in that classroom with these rickety desks.
Mm-hmm.
And he is talking about, first thing he talks about is up in the tempo and playing with speed. And I had never heard the spiel before. And so I thought, oh my God, they're about to change the way they play. And everybody that I talked to after it was over said, no.
Yeah, he said it before. We'll
see.
see.
Every year.
Well, then eventually they did.
Yep, they sure did.
And they embraced it, and he did it in the nick of time to save himself the first go-around. And not only did Florida State become a lot of fun to watch all of a sudden, they also became attractive for a better brand of player, a caliber of player, I should say. And that's what we ended up getting. And that's when you see the run of NBA guys. That's when you start seeing, some of the 9 first-round picks that we were talking about. Patrick Williams in 2020, Scotty Barnes in 2021, coached 24 all ACC selections, 13 all defensive selections, ACC Sixth Man of the Year recipient, 2 different ACC Defensive Players of the Year as well. It was just a stretch where it really got to be a lot of fun. But yeah, kudos to him.
I remember the build-up to that run. And it was when we were sitting together for a game. I want to say it was Virginia Tech. I'm pretty sure Buzz Williams was coaching.
Who was annoying. He would sweat through all of his suits.
Sweating. This was
goodness gracious.
This was an early tip. And I remember seeing freshman Trent Forrest and freshman CJ Walker come in as full court press depth reserves. Give me everything you got for 10 to 12 minutes. And we would get so excited when they would rotate those guys in because you knew that it would get taken to this other place. You would see the look of frustration as a team as they're down to, I forget, the shot clock might have still been 35 then. So, 27, 26 on the shot clock as they're crossing the timeline, barely getting it across for a backcourt violation, and then having to set up their offense, and it's too late. And you could just see the depth building to this different place where you did have some of that NBA caliber scoring or professional caliber scoring, but now here comes the grit and the hustle that is going to be combined with it. And that was just about that time when it was transitioning from, we're going to have some one and dones, but not make the tournament, to, oh, it's going somewhere else. And that was what was to come, because years later we'd be sitting in the corner in the club, watching Trent break away on a dunk. Here comes Wara to contest that dunk.
Wara, an embarrassing moment.
Wara beaten.
Yeah, a moment.
That may be the single most thunderous moment in that program's history. I don't know. There have been others. There have been buzzer beaters and snare buzzer beaters, but I don't know, man. That might have been the one, because you've got old people getting up and flexing in the aisles. Old people doing this number.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah. No, it was a place to go, man. You wanted to be at those games. They got to get it back. I miss it. I really miss basketball being relevant. Look, this move was necessary, unfortunate as it may be, but I think a lot of people are relieved today. I do feel privileged to have known the man. And I get it. If you don't, and you never had those kinds of conversations or connections, you just say, hey, look, man, great, wonderful, he's a nice man. We need to win some basketball games. And I get it. I hear it loud and clear. I'm just telling you my interactions, my thoughts on the man, his accomplishments on and off the court, of which they are bountiful. But
I don't think you like blunt language like that. Like, hey, man, we got to win games. That's not your style.
We got to win some damn games, man. And we haven't been. It was just getting to where I remember thinking at the start of this year, man, I really hope something's different, because this is untenable. And you don't want to have to start going on the air all the time saying, I'm going to have to fire this guy. Like, let's go. I mean, I hate to say it, but we got to fire this guy. I didn't want to have to say it. I would. And I knew when they went out west and failed miserably in those two games, you're like, we got a problem.
Well, in his presser after the Cal game, he speaks about the effort that was not there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a win at home. Gosh, when was this? Might have been after the Clemson game. It was whatever our follow-up was to the Clemson game just a few weeks ago. And he said, I didn't think we brought the intensity necessary this weekend at Clemson, and this is a response. Well, man, that's yellow alert. Even after victory, you're going, intensity necessary.
Yeah, you got to play hard. Yeah, that's not good. By the way, folks, if you're a Jeff Cameron Show advertiser, you get a free ad board for your business right now from my friends at Tried and True Consulting. How about that? As an advertiser on the show, you have an exclusive offer from me and Tried and True, their team. You can contact them and receive a free ad board. What you get? 55-inch 4K TV installation, 6 months of free ads in other locations across Tallahassee. If you have a television, you get 1 year of ads for free at all other participating locations with their ad board program. Revenue share on paid advertisers start on month 7. So you get all the good stuff there, guys. You get to be partners with my guys at Tried and True, are doing wonderful things in the community, and also highlighting what you offer up at your business, and they're giving money back to the Battle's End. So we're all getting better. That's a good thing. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Deputies are investigating a Friday night shooting in Woodville as a road rage incident. LCSO responded to the intersection of Old Pine Acres Trail and Bright Star Circle around 8:15 p.m., where deputies found a man with 2 gunshot wounds to the stomach. The man was taken to the hospital, where he remains in critical condition. Authorities say the shooting was part of a road rage incident between the driver of a pickup truck and the rider of a motorcycle. The motorcyclist was also injured and taken to the hospital for minor injuries and was released. It is unclear if the motorcyclist was shot. shot. It is also unclear if the man shot multiple times was the pickup truck driver. LCSO said there was no threat to the public, but has yet to mention any arrests. Deputies ask anyone with information on the case to call LCSO at 850-606-5800 or to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers at 850-574-TIPS. This is Rachel Lene with the Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McElmore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McElmoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with highs around 75. Winds out of the south around 5 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 52 with fog in spots tonight, partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 78 with fog in spots. Early tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 70 degrees.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business, ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofingSales.net.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before. Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
No, Dad, that's well done. You go run those sand pits, buddy. Run those sand pits.
Kyle Turpin.
Kyle Turpin, indeed. He had the man boobs. He had to get over there to the sand pits and get to running. Put him in the sand pits. Let's go. Let's go. It's hard to run on a beach.
He's got some time on his hands coming up, does Coach Ham, after helping us see through the transition. Maybe we could do a video feature with him. Workouts in the sand pits with Leonard Hamilton. Want to get yourself in great shape? Watch this instructional video.
I've reached out over there, and I'll text Leonard today. I don't know if he's going to be in the mood to respond, but it would be great to have that opportunity. I'm curious. On the one hand, you're being respectful and all that other stuff, but I'm also like kind of excited to see what's out there, what's possible for Florida State.
It's interesting. You have more legitimate hope, and we did talk in between one of the segments in the first hour where you said, you could find some people. I'm like, what? Why are you hinting at you can find some people? I don't understand.
I can't get too out there on this.
I know, but you have hope. For me, oddly enough, I'm usually the optimistic. I say, I got to see it. I got to see it. Now, there could be a name that's impressive, and I'm sure the name will be impressive or have Florida State ties and/or.
Yeah.
But okay, that's one thing. But then attracting players and turning this thing into something again, I am skeptical given where we are financially as an athletic department right now.
You're going to need some enterprising folks that have some ideas on this matter, and we shall see. I do want to touch on something else. I don't know if you've seen this, but I'll have to show you during the break, and you guys can find this wherever you search the internet. But there was something that happened today that reminded me of being a kid that cracked me up. Some mom posted her her telling her two sons, both young kids, that Luka had been traded. They're like pouring cereal, Tom, in breakfast that morning. And they had just gotten up for school. And she goes, or I've gotten up that day or whatever, and they're both pouring cereal into their bowls, little kids, but they got Maverick stuff on. And she goes, hey, they traded your boy. I mean, she just breaks it down. And the one kid goes, huh? He just looks at her funny. And then the other one, the one that's behind the other kid, turns around, looks concerned, like he has a sense that this isn't good. She goes, Luka. And the one kid's eyes get big. He's like, what? She goes, they traded him. He's gone. Traded him to the Lakers. The one kid's like, what in the? He's just baffled, absolutely stunned. Like, what are you talking about, woman? And then the other one knows she's telling the truth. This one's not so sure. Like, the first kid's kind of like, are you effing with us? But the other kid knows mom's not lying. And turns around, he starts to cry. And then she says his name. Let's say it's like Tom. She's like, Tom. He's like, oh, man. He's furious.
Why you got to out me like that?
They've traded him. But I started thinking, man, it made me smile, not at their expense, but because do you remember when you loved sports like that?
Yeah.
Where the thought of your favorite player or coach either getting traded, leaving, fired, hurt, whatever would like devastate you?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been that way in a very long time. Now, look, you guys all know I have a big Paul Skeens crush. That's my man, and he'll be front and center here in a couple of weeks, buddy, as spring training begins. And I don't have to wait on anybody to get called up this year. Paul's pitching opening day. We got the man. But anyhow, as strongly as I feel about Paul Skeens, best pitcher in baseball, I'm 53. If when he leaves Pittsburgh, and he will, I won't cry. I'll be pissed. It'll bother me. But listen, I'm 53. I've seen it all. But when you're a kid, those kids, that response, that was the best. Oh my goodness.
Roman Hammerlick got traded to the Edmonton Oilers in the late 90s.
And you were crushed.
I am crushed in this moment, feeling what it was like. I know where I was when I heard the news.
Did you think, what is management doing?
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I was I was in the kitchen. I could see where I'm standing. I can see the backsplash in the kitchen. I could see the wallpaper. Oh, that one hurt. And my sister worked for the organization at the times, and she was warning me. That
it could be coming, yeah.
Which was very kind. Because if it just was, I woke up and it's in the St. Petersburg Times, then I'm that kid.
Yeah.
She said, just be careful. Like, now that they're not going to make the playoffs again, because they made it 96, they weren't going to make it again. I'm still hurt, actually. Roman Hammerlick got traded to Edmonton. Yeah. And then he was wearing 44 for us. I think he wore 55 for them. Oh, that one hurt.
There are very few moments once I'm past the age of, say, 13, where anything that happened on a football, basketball, baseball field left me, devastated, emotionally devastated. There've been a few. Yeah. I mean, look, you guys know the Sid Bream play. It hurt a little bit. That 3-year window where the Pirates were elite and had real opportunity to win the World Series and came up short. 2 Game 7s, by the way. It hurt. Frustrated. Knowing that it was never going to happen. And that those guys were going to disperse. That Andy Van Slyke and Barry Bonds and the rest of that gang was going to go the way of the dodo. Or to at least other teams. Yeah, it was tough. Those are tough ones.
About bags loaded, nobody out, down a run. Bottom of the 9th, Game 7, NLCS. No scratch across a single run. Nope.
No, not a run. Nary a run.
Nary a run. 2 outs, nobody on. Here comes an 83-mile-an-hour piece of nothing down the middle. And what do? We look at it. We admire it. We let it pass. And so, too, did the moment. And it took 2 or 3 days.
Hey,
that one took 2 or 3 full days of no speaking.
I've been in a position before where something devastating and shocking happened to a friend of mine's team, and I felt sick. And now they've subsequently won the World Series, so I don't have to carry that burden anymore. But my buddy Eric, and you know where I'm going with this.
Oh, God.
Only Texas Rangers fan I've ever known. Die hard, knew the farm system, knew every minor leaguer, knew every detail of Texas Rangers baseball, studied it, loved it, would go fly into Texas. He would go into games, loved it. That team that lost to the Cardinals in 7 after choking away the game with the play up against the wall, was it Freeze? Yes. Hits the ball off the wall, and that's a ball that should be caught. It's not caught. They lose the game. They lose in 7. I had the phone in hand, was calling him when the ball's in the air. He's going to catch that. Okay. Doesn't. And I remember going, oh, and I was so glad I hadn't hit send because I was about to. I was trying to time it to congratulate him.
Yeah, that puts you in friend timeout for a little while.
Yeah, I didn't. I just slowly put my phone down and went, oh, no.
Don't accidentally hit the button and send it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's toughy.
Because if they had won the next game, all would be forgiven.
Whatever, yeah.
But since they didn't, that would have been tough to come back from.
He was crushed. Listen, this is true. I believe, since we're talking about fandom and things like that, I believe the 2 most crushed moments I've ever had is probably a Florida State baseball game in the College World Series. There have been a couple where I thought that squad's going to win the national championship. They are the team. They are loaded. They're going to win the national title. And then you lose a heartbreaking game. You're like, son of a bitch. We've been waiting forever on this. It's just not going to happen. But I can remember probably both wide rights. I was in attendance for both. The first 2 wide rights. That's
yeah,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, it was the night of a Florida State home football game for me in 2015, which that World Series still doesn't hurt as badly as the 06 blunder against the Cardinals because you get banged up. You're going to win. You're going to win the World Series. This one, you're in the World Series, and it's game 4, series tie, or sorry, 2-1, Kansas City. And my roommate's parents are in town, so they come crash at the place so as not to pay the 3-night minimums. And his dad is awesome. Love his dad. Well, both of his parents are. His dad loves the scotch, too, and I had just started collecting scotches.
Yeah.
So they're downstairs watching all of the football, and I'm up watching the World Series. I want to be alone. And it's the 8th inning, and things are going very, very well. And he knocks on the door, and I'm thinking, really? Okay,
not now.
What do you need?
Yeah.
8th inning. And he said, hey, can I get a little bit of that Lafroig? I said, sure, no problem.
Tasty indeed.
We start to have a back and forth, and I'm really trying to move it along. Out of respect, I'll be down in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll be down in 10 minutes.
I'm kind of watching this.
As the balls hit the second base and Daniel Murphy boots a ball, and he's asking me something, and I have to stay engaged in the conversation. And I watch us lose as I'm in a conversation handing over a bottle of scotch. I didn't even get to react to it. That's going to come out someday. I'm going to be at the beach screaming at the top of my lungs.
Man. And the worst part about it for you is the following year, dude goes on to become an MVP caliber player.
Oh, he was for us that playoff run.
It was unbelievable.
That was, the Murphy take it
and
the Murphy giveth back with his little Tyrannosaurus arms. As he...
Yeah, man. The 3
Check out his home run swings, everybody. You'll see it.
Yeah. A little 3-year window where the Pirates were right there, and the Braves beat them twice, the Reds beat them once in the early 90s. That one crushes. Where did you stand on the Bucks loss to the Rams with the Bert Emanuel play? That still pisses me off too. Because we dominated that game defensively, shut down that offense. Yeah.
That was the what team was that? 99? think that was the 99 team. It might have been 98.
That was a great team.
So I can tell you what day the game was of the year. It was January 23rd. It was my sister's birthday, and she was a humongous Bucks fan. Still is.
Yeah.
Huge Bucks fan. And we didn't have cake and celebration till after the game, and it was quiet. That was the quietest happy birthday you've ever heard. The Bird Emanuel rule. We all knew it was BS, and that Ricky Prohl catch is barely a catch. They never reviewed that thoroughly like they would these days.
It is a good catch, though, and it's a ridiculous catch. And I remember thinking, Ricky Prohl, what the hell are you doing making that catch? You know you're not that good. What are you doing?
I know. What we have at that point, was it 5-3?
It was a crazy score. Yeah. Yeah, it was 99, the NFC Championship game.
So that was January 23rd, 2000, then was the date of the game.
It was 47 seconds left in the game. Bird Emanuel caught a 13-yard pass from sorry-ass Sean King, who sucked. It would have put us on the 22-yard line of the Rams.
The greatest show on turf held under 14 points in that game, right? Did they end up kicking something?
11-6.
Yeah, 11-6.
The final score was 11-6.
So we were up 6-5 then.
Mhm.
They must have gone for 2. I think we were up 6-5. Jeez.
But, man, that's the game that Derek Brooks caved in. Was it Torrey Holt?
I believe so.
Cool.
It wasn't Bruce. I think
it was Torrey Holt. He caved in Torrey Holt's chest and told him about it and said all day, when you go back and listen to the video, and he's like, don't come across the middle again. It was beautiful. Damn it, man. Good work out of you. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Be well. We'll talk tomorrow. Peace.
Well, it's so great being back in the